episode of the Threats and Menaces podcast. And we're your panel pals. I'm Skull Ryan.
And I'm MN Stash. Hope you guys are ready for this one.
Oh yeah. So to start off,
we got a big one.
Go hard or go home. We're just going to talk everything Spider-Man. He's the best character. I would say he's the best fictional character altogether, to me at least.
Just under Michelson, probably.
Well enough. There's a reason Spidey will take on Kingpin and Green Goblin, mate. But have you ever actually seen him square up to Micah Sin?
his diet is just too much, I'm afraid.
Too much, mate. I mean, yeah, he's got radioactive spider blood. But
he's married to a model, so she'd probably freak out if she saw his diet.
Oh, Christ.
No, but you can't get better than a character like Spidey. It's the pinnacle. It's literally Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's the chosen one, mate, literally. From the costume to the feeling of him inside, like the drive to want to do good.
Even I think his origin was pretty revolutionary for the 60s of just having a story that sort of deep for Marvel Comics.
Yeah, they do start off strong, don't they, mate?
Yeah, just, having a teenager make a mistake and then boom, his uncle is dead.
Ooh,
It's pretty heavy for that. Especially what DC was doing in the 60s. They would never even touch that.
Well, you get DC in the 60s, alien crash lands and gives a fella his magic ring. Okay. Over here, the refusing to act gets your father figure murdered. That's on you.
Batman goes back in time to figure out the true mystery of the Batcave's origin and meets Native Americans and then helps someone win a fight. I can't even remember that.
Oh, God.
And he's like, at the end, that Robin is the origin of the Batcave.
That's it, Robin. I just went back in time, as you do.
But even when we record this, Ultimate Spider-Man pretty much just came out, issue 8.
It did indeed.
Yeah, and I mean, let's just go on sentence by sentence real quick. So it says 20 years ago, the Maker prevented a radioactive spider from biting a young Peter Parker. What do you think that one means? Sorry, they won't get it.
No, I get it. Speaking of that issue, mate, that issue even backs us up because the Maker says, no, he doesn't say, but Iron Man says the number one threat that this fella wanted to get rid of was
Spider-Man.
So
at the very top.
Yeah, mate, it wasn't Reed Richards, it wasn't Iron Man, it wasn't Captain America or Thor or Hulk.
It was Spider-Man.
Breaking himself because Peter Parker's out there and he's got...
But even in Renew Your Vows, wasn't he the one that his family sort of got it started in the Renew Your Vows one?
The original Renew Your Vows, which is
like
yeah, mate, he was the last.
I didn't really enjoy that one at all. And then he sort of was the one to start the revolution, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, you're right, because all the actual superpowered people have been kidnapped, drained of the power, and killed. Even though then they're suddenly all back alive in the ongoing.
It just doesn't. Nothing matters anymore in comics.
Matches, they'll just chuck whatever in. But let me ask you this then. So, when you read Spider-Man, what voice do you hear in your head?
Definitely not Web of Shadows.
Oh God, no.
I think it's a mix between Josh Keaton and Christopher Daniel Barnes. It keeps shifting back and forth for me.
For me, if it's younger Peter, then yeah, it's Josh Keaton. But older, actual grown-up more Peter, that's always Chris Barnes. But that might just be because of his range.
Such a good voice.
He's got
Oh, but he's got the voice for it. He could have easily been him or Keaton could have been a Kevin Conroy for Spidey if Marvel was more serious.
I fully agree with you. And I'm
really not sold on Yuri.
Not now, no. I thought he did okay in the first one. But
yeah, I mean, there were some moments.
Better.
The second one, I think he had some moments when Harry was falling or some shit like that near the end. But overall, I'm still partial to like I would. They had Josh Keaton there. He voiced Electro. I would have just rather they went with him.
So much. Because, again, Chris Barnes is in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon as Electro. And I'm like, if you've got Spider-Man's voice there, why have I got
Drake Bell? Drake Bell was shocking.
Yeah. So
should have stuck to Dragonfly.
For you, get him in as the actual guy, for Christ's sake.
Drake Bell's Dragonfly, and that's it for me. It doesn't go past Dragonfly.
Oh, mate.
It just doesn't get any better than that.
Oh, my life. Not for him anymore, mate. Christ.
His career's dusted.
He's done. Good.
You know who else is dusted?
Go on.
I mean, it's already common knowledge, but I think Amazing Spider-Man is far beyond its saving point.
Yeah, it's gone. It's done.
It's pack it up. I don't even think. I think Joe Kelly's gonna make it worse.
You're either die the hero, or you live long enough to become the villain. And the shit
he's
giving us Amazing Spider-Man nowadays, they are evil, mate. These are the types of a kingpin plot to like desecrate Spider-Man's name across the city.
It's at a point where there's not even a slight bit of joy whenever there's a new release. Ever since Zeb Wells came into it, I don't think I've ever been actually happy to see it on the shelf.
Yeah. You're just like, oh,
and each time you go to a comic store, you'll never you always feel that dread because it doesn't sell. So you always see it there no matter what. You'll see like the trauma from 5 months back.
Yeah.
I always get comments saying stop buying the book, and I'm like, who fucking buys this book? I can't find who buys this book. It's like you realize that they can lie about numbers, right? It's like
mate.
I really can't see anyone buying it.
Literally, mate, going back, this is why I stick to older stuff. Except for like the occasional good thing, like Ultimate currently. But I will not touch anything past 2006, and I think we all know why there.
Oh, it's not worth it. Even that period in the Avengers was pretty shit, just because of the Sins Past was right around that time.
It's like
yeah, I thought Mary Jane was. They thought she was having an affair.
Yeah,
and then he fucking punched Wolverine out the window.
Yeah, mate. But
even though the glass was that enforced as well, it just didn't matter.
Like I was like, supervillains won't break in through that glass, but Spidey will chuck Wolverine out of it.
His little midget body is just falling down.
Rocks, like not even rock solid, adamantium solid skeleton.
Yeah, when Daredevil punches Bullseye, he full on breaks his knuckles sometimes, and you got Spider-Man just punching Wolverine through it.
That's so weird to me how Bullseye's got a friggin' adamantium skeleton. I'm pretty sure Wolverine only survived the process because of his healing factor. Bullseye's just a dude. Why doesn't everyone get an adamantium skeleton if it's that survivable?
Was the surgery like a 50-50 though? Wasn't it like he could actually die from this?
Yeah, but you should defo die unless you've got a mega healing factor like Wolverine level. And replacing
definitely, yeah. You're putting actual, the strongest metal on Earth into your bloodstream is not really a smart idea.
And can Bullseye? I know this is a Spider-Man podcast, but Spidey fights Bullseye in I don't remember the exact issue, but during Norman Osborn's Dark Reign, Spider-Man fought Bullseye a few times. So he even called him a douche.
It's all technically anything's like valid because he's even fought fucking what's his face, Firelord.
Yes. Go to this.
Yeah, he's like
team up.
He's
45 Blizzard in business. Spider-Man.
Like when Firelord was chasing him, and he's like, "This guy's never gonna stop chasing me," and he's like, "All right," and then he just turns around, starts smacking him like he knocks him unconscious.
Yeah, and
how many people is
because I was going through the 80s stuff for that Rose video, and
the goat, might I say, the goat.
Yeah, mate. While I'm here, I'm currently holding a graphic novel. Birth of Venom, it's called, but Venom's barely in it. He comes in right to the end. It's more about Black Suit Spider-Man, and the when that Firelord stuff happened, that wasn't symbiote Spider-Man. That was normal
That was
Spider-Man.
cloth.
Just
Yeah,
his
that was cloth.
suit. There we go. The challenge.
suit-
Goblin, mate. Ooh.
If he can beat Firelord, why is he struggling against the Vulture and Tombstone now?
Yeah, truth. Why, mate?
I don't think they've realized that as soon as he beat Firelord, the amount of like,
That was it, mate.
yeah, it actually ruins a lot of stories for them because it's like, well, he can do this to one of Galactus's heralds. So it's like, what, you can't beat an old man with cancer?
Craven can take him down, but
Not Firelord.
Galactus struggles.
You know,
The Spider-Man
like,
#1, mate. Sick cover.
yeah, yeah, but
Sorry, I'm leafing through the book.
how does John Jameson fit into this, really?
Well, at the time, John Jameson was a pilot for the Avengers because him and Captain America during the Bloodstone hunt. John Jameson was Captain America's pilot while he and Diamondback fluttered around the world collecting pieces of the Bloodstone.
Bunch of A-listers.
That is why. Well, Diamondback's actually quite fit, but he's no Mary Jane.
No, and it took forever for Mary Jane to even get in the books.
It did.
She
What issue did she
came around. She was in issue 25, but her face was covered.
Yeah, it's like a plant, and all the girls are like, "Oh shit, she's gorgeous."
And then I think she appeared another time, and then issue 42 it has the famous Face a Tiger line, and then 43 was like her first.
Relevance is that a Rhino issue?
42 was actually John Jameson. Then 43 was the Rhino wrecking havoc.
Yeah, I knew Rhino was coming. I remember, like, he goes to fight.
Speaking of Rhino, speaking of Rhino, the Ultimate Spider-Man game. As a kid, I could never get past that. I just didn't realize you had to put him in cement.
Oh yeah.
So as a kid, I was like constantly like, what am I supposed to do here? Are you a rhinoceros? Are you just really excited to see me?
Genuinely cool game. I don't know why they then made it not canon to the comics by redoing the game, but shitter later.
There was some moments that were ripped straight from it, and then some were just doing their own thing. So in like true Arkham fashion, it's basically, it's as kind as it gets.
Yeah. I feel like, Ben, this was just like, at least played the game, speed through, because it starts off with him fighting Venom in the museum. Then it comes up saying months later. You're like, months?
I know the school one.
Yeah.
He fights him in the pouring rain.
Yeah.
Which was a direct panel, I think, from the book. I remember seeing it.
Yeah. Issue like 20-something, 24 maybe?
Yeah, it was. I remember he went to see Mary Jane right after it, I think.
Yeah, after the suit nearly makes him kill someone.
But even I've been telling you behind the scenes about the stupid races in that game.
Oh yeah, you've been playing it again.
Not color, as in actual races, in case people get confused with that one.
Just in case.
But my God, what were they thinking when it came to those races? It was just the most, especially when it gets to the insane level. Like, hard wasn't enough, there's insane. And it's like, you need to jump on a platform that's like a centimeter wide, and this jumping mechanic does not work for that. It does not work. And the amount of times I've almost thrown the controller through the TV is insane.
The only Spider-Man game I've had real trouble in is the Wii version of Web of Shadows.
Doesn't that have the skins?
It's skins like, you can change costumes. That's what.
Yeah, where was that for the 360?
Was that not in that, mate? You can play as 2091. You can play as Ben Riley. Oh, it's sick. You've got a good costume selection.
We don't get any of that. It's the same too.
No way, mate. You can be Spider Carnage and everything. It's sick.
Yeah, we got nothing when it comes to the Xbox 360.
Oh, that's garbage.
Yeah, but, I know. I'm sick of that orange hinged Spider-Man costume.
Yeah. Why did they keep making it orange?
Marvel vs. Capcom's probably the only one it looked good in, and that's pretty much it for me. when it came to the orange shade.
It's just,
Especially when Insomniac did it.
Pure rate, it's dog shit. The big white spider, especially in Spider-Man 1, where it is an orange.
Yeah.
Garbage.
Even the classic suit was orange still.
Yeah. Battle damage.
The damage one was the one with the correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you got a big stupid hole in it.
You could see his 3 chest hairs.
But yeah,
I can't believe they actually had 3 chest hairs and added it onto his body, so you could actually see.
Attention to detail with it later.
Yeah, they went from that amount of effort to no effort within the space of 1 sequel.
Yeah, they didn't even have like most of the costumes in 2, did it?
They had all of Tom's ones. None of them. They still don't even have Ben Reilly's one.
Oh, it's
the
sick,
one that
mate.
everyone asks for. They didn't even put in the game.
That sensational Spidey costume.
Yeah, but I bet they'd still fuck it up somehow. There's no way they don't mess it up. Because I feel like
there's got like the honeycomb pattern on it. Can they not just do flat like as it is in the book?
Fabric.
Yeah.
Even I bet if they did the sensational one, he's gonna have like the Ramita lenses or something, and just not the Bagley ones.
They'll goon it up somehow.
Add some sort of paneling to it. Add any sort of spider that just doesn't look right.
Oh, put the spider sideways.
Even their classic suit is pretty bad when you really look at it. I feel like when it came to the details, it just didn't work.
I think a lot of Insomniac's designs were a bit crap looking back. Like, Shocker looks more like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat than the Shocker.
Yeah, he's got the shoulder pads as well. Their Mysterio was dog shit.
Scorpion's a cyborg instead of just a dude in like... Why is Scorpion in like Iron Man armor?
Oh, he could actually get out of that. He could get out of that probably.
Speaking of, the potential, why did Scorpion never call into Jameson's show while he was on the loose and threaten him?
Yeah, that should be a staple within Spidey games. I loved in the 2001 where you have to chase Scorpion.
Yeah, where he's hunting Jonah. He can smash into the window.
I'm pretty sure that's from, like, you first see that in ASM 29, I'm pretty sure. Never step on a Scorpion or something like that. Where he's full on rushing to him.
Yeah. And he was in that blue suit from the reboot, wasn't
he? Yeah, the 90s armor. Which I still think I'm more of a fan of like the Mark Bagley era. It looked like he was just painted his lips green.
Yeah, I think his mouth should be... He should look like Green Spider-Man, I think. Because he is meant to be like Spidey's rival when he was created.
How did Jameson never get in trouble? Did he get in trouble for it?
Yeah,
all the Spider Slayers?
Goblin had his documents on it and threatened to... He was trying to blackmail Jonah. But Jonah, in the absolute weapon he is, ran a story himself about it to take all the power from the Hobgoblin. Love Jonah Jameson, me, mate.
But even just like the Spider Slayers destroying like city property with his massive face.
Yeah.
It's like, how can they not link it back? I love him in like his office, just like playing this like game on a joystick, trying to kill Spider-Man.
Because it would have been like the 60s, wouldn't it? So all they've got is like Tetris.
It's as far as technology has gone as a joystick and a TV screen.
Meanwhile, just like when you has the full virtual reality treadmill and everything.
It's just like, it's funny just even how much it's evolved. Even like with characters aging, it's the most confusing shit. Because you got characters who don't age. And then I was reading Daredevil, the Brian Michael Bendis stuff, and then the Rose was in it, but he looked 50 or something years old, and it wasn't even blonde. I was like, I was so confused. When they said it was Richard, I couldn't believe it.
Oh, no way.
They massacred my boy.
Stark blonde. You can see it behind his mask, I noticed the other day. There's a panel he's talking to Hobgoblin, and you can see this blare of blonde at the top behind his mask.
Yeah, and then in the story, he was like full-on brunette with a ponytail and a completely different shape.
How come every character except Peter can age? Liz Allen's got a kid. Harry Osborn's got 2 kids. Eddie Brock's got a kid.
Norman's expanded his seed across the whole of New York, probably.
Spread his DNA across New York.
He's like Genghis Khan, but for New York.
I had to Google that kid's name before the other one, Lily Hollister's. It was Stanley.
No, fuck, no. No.
I was like, I know he's Stanley, but what the hell's his other son called? Because he's not appeared in it, I think.
That cover of her pregnant scarred the shit out of me.
Menace being pregnant. Thanks one more day.
Everything since past.
Thanks Freak. Everything.
It's like Marvel gets a fetish and then runs with it for a while. And it's pretty weird.
They know people hated it because no one liked Sins Past. If they know people hated it,
well, yeah, that era was like, for some reason, dads stealing their child's women. And then the 90s and like the Daredevil book was just like what EDP likes to watch in his spare time. And then you got now it's just Peter being a massive cuck. And it's like, can we stop with these like taking turns of what the writer likes?
Yeah.
It's so fucking annoying. But they give him a...
And Sergeant goes too far.
Yeah, like Bendis.
Yeah. He's literally
Who looks like Bendis.
Looks like Bendis. He's shagging Kitty Pryde.
And he was still man. What a career he's had in the Marvel universe.
The stilt man, no way.
And even with like aging, what's with Peter de-aging?
Yeah.
Like I had a complain about something to do with Peter and Mary Jane being married and all this shit. And I'm like, well, if you really put your thinking caps on, you follow Spidey from being a teenager. I've even mentioned this multiple times before in videos. Like, you go from a teenager to a college student to a young bachelor to a married man. The next step is a family man. And then they do one more day. Get rid of that. So he's already gone back pretty much 5 to 10 years to live. The first thing in Brand New Day, wasn't he waking up at his old house in Queens with Aunt May?
Yeah, the very first thing you see is him kissing another woman to rub a bit of salt in the wound. And then, it cuts to him waking back up. He's back in Queens, back in May's house.
Then Mary Jane was leaving the party.
Yeah, I don't even think she turns up until the classic paper doll issue.
Wasn't it when Jameson was getting married? And at the very end, she's like, "What did I miss?" And she catches the bouquet of flowers.
Oh, that was 600, and that's when she returned to the book. But she's in it. Never crosses paths with Spider-Man, but she's going out with an actor who's being targeted by pancake.
Was it the lobster guy?
Paper doll. Bobby Carr, his name was.
Was it the lobster man? Who was the lobster?
No, that was when she was filming. They were still married back then. I've got that book here too.
I love how threatened he felt by a guy in a lobster suit.
Yeah, because it was literally the story with Lobster Man, wasn't it?
I've even got the issue of Ultimate Spider-Man with Arachno Man.
Ah, sick, dude.
I love it. It looks so weird. But even with like de-aging Peter, he's lost any sort of design when it comes to his actual face. And it's pretty sad because he's always had like thick black eyebrows. He's always had somewhat curly hair with the bangs in his forehead coming forward. And he's always had that sort of Ramita-esque face to him.
Yeah.
Since
you could tell who you're looking at.
Since maybe I'd say even when Andrew Garfield came in, when he started to look like Garfield, and then he started to look when Tom Holland came in, he just looked like you went on Sims and they just put random eyes on a white boy, and then that's what came out was Peter Parker. That's what he sort of just become after a while. He lost any sort of
Do you reckon it's just appearance? Scared of the movies getting rebooted again. They don't want to lock him into one look in case a different looking actor is the next one.
I mean, that could be it because they rebooted every 2 seconds, and because Sony's such dogs and they refuse to even remotely hand over the rights,
Oh my!
it could be that.
I'm
But
looking here
also,
at
like,
Peter from I think it is Web of Spider-Man #1, where he puts on his suit and he finds out it's actually the symbiote like back for him, and you can see the brown fluffy hair. You can distinctly tell that's Peter. And then in Spider-Verse, the comic, there's one panel where he looks literally like they've drawn Andrew Garfield.
yeah, especially when he joined the New Avengers, he looked just like him.
Yeah.
Like that issue where he was trying to draw a comic book with Captain America. But even just like, I thought, I never really liked Todd McFarlane's art when it came to people. I thought
Oh,
like
yeah.
his actual humans looked shocking, especially like his Peter and MJ. But when it came to like Bagley, or even, I was actually a fan of Eric Larson.
Oh, yeah.
I thought Eric Larson did a good job. His Mary Jane was insane. The way he drew MJ was crazy.
Looking at a Todd
Like, remember when
McFarlane. Oh, there's what's her
Todd
name?
does massive chins?
Christy.
Sorry.
There's Mary Jane. But go on, man.
I was even just with Peter as well, like his general basic design. I don't know if the MCU stands would like it, but I think the majority of the casual fan base now that are so loud on like TikTok and Twitter,
Yeah.
literally have never touched a comic book in their life. And
Mm.
so like that is what they envision Peter as, like they just look like he's a generic white boy, which sucks because he used to have actual like a fashion sense.
Yeah. That
Like
yellow
remember the
sweater.
70s? Oh yeah, in the 70s when he had the purple shirt and the gold chains and the slags, it was like crazy. It was crazy.
I like his polo shirt in the 90s cartoon.
What were they like? That was the most random thing ever.
I like where he's
I
in
didn't understand.
blazer and a red like jumper underneath with the sleeves rolled up.
I love like the when he turns into the symbiote into the suit. He just
Yeah.
hops down from nowhere, and then like Felicia and Flash were basically right
Right.
next to the exit.
Where did you come from, Andy?
Dude gets an Italian suede suit just randomly. But even like with like MCU fans, it's pretty funny just like with Silver's. I know this is off topic in a way, but Silver Surfer, the female one, they'll do a
Yeah.
quick Google search, see that she was in one issue or some shit, and then go, "Well, she was in the comics." It's like, yeah, for one issue.
Yeah.
It's
Like you say, they don't actually read what they're on about. They just Wikipedia it.
yeah. Even like I saw someone was saying like for the Daredevil Born Again, how they're like an OG fan because they watched the Daredevil show when it was on Netflix. It's like,
No way.
come on. Have you ever heard of Death's Head, huh? Are you really a Daredevil?
Go on then.
Has
Who's
Micah
Fearstalk?
Sin
Who's Deathstalk? What
who's
was
Micah Sin?
Deathstalk's mum's name?
Who created the doll Daredevil pushed down an elevator shaft?
Who stole Foggy's wife?
Who has the worst diet of them all?
Incredible.
Who's like Spidey villains on par with Micah Sin?
The Shaker.
The Shaker.
Guy from one issue who he chucks in a swimming
What
pool
about
and
what about the cat?
the cat, not even Black Cat, just the old man who's got nothing to do with Black Cat.
Issue 30.
Amazing. He had
What
a
a
boss
classic
issue.
tale.
Was that Black Fox?
Black Fox was the old one who was
No.
around Silver Sable time. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Spidey kept having a
It's not a good
soft
issue.
spot for him and let him escape.
He reminds him of Uncle Ben, yeah, until issue
Yeah,
350.
and everything. What
Dude.
really pissed me off was he'd do that, and then he'd always go, "Why did I do that?" I'm like, well, I don't fucking. You've done this the whole time.
Yeah. It's because he's an old
Stop
man. He's like,
questioning
oh, it reminds me of Ben. Let's let him go.
He's just old. That's the only thing he's got about. He's just old. Imagine Peter going to a Comic-Con and seeing an old guy and just following him around the whole time. He thinks it's Ben and just doesn't leave the cosplayer alone. Does that mean he has like a deep attachment to Skip Westcott?
Ooh, the actual main villain of Spider-Man.
That should be it. That's the on par villain.
Everyone saw like at the end of Spectacular cartoon, Norman Osborn gets away with it. But Skip, never been caught. He's still out there.
He could literally be the Micah Sin equivalent for Spider-Man.
Just one thing that everyone would rather forget.
If Spider-Man, if that can happen to Spider-Man, then it can happen to me. Like, why would I want a story like that?
But I don't want it to happen to me.
Nope. Spider-Man's just saying, well, too bad.
And Sony's like, hey, anyone can be behind the mask. Wink.
The next solo film, Skip Westcott. That'd be the best thing Sony would ever do. What about the kangaroo?
The kangaroo, mate. You know what? As an obscure,
representation.
The Spider-Man manga. You ever read that?
I have not read the manga. That's when it comes to that. I haven't read much when it comes to outside it.
Mate, he gets framed for sexual assault and just puts up with it. He has to kill his girlfriend because she's got a psychic tiger or something that comes out of her head and she sleeps and attacks people. But the kangaroo is his main nemesis because he gets he's the main threat because he gets not a nuclear device. I think it's he gets a sample of the plague or something and he's threatening New York that he's the biggest threat of the book, really, because Electro just robs banks while the kangaroo.
As an Australian, mate, I'm proud. I'm proud of the kangaroo.
For the rep.
Getting the representation we deserve in the books. I'll raise you one. What about, this is some good The Rose Law. What about his first appearance in ASM 83 when he was the schemer?
The schemer. As I said, I've just made that Rose video. I was gonna mention that, but it didn't fit into the law, so I stopped. It wasn't relevant.
The schemer, because
it's so stupid.
Because normal casual fans might not really realize if they've just watched the shows or films, but Kingpin was a Spider-Man bad guy.
Yeah.
For a long time, he was
ASM 50. That was first appearance.
Yeah, ASM 50. Yeah. And they went on to the 70s. They kept going.
Yeah.
Which was, it was good, but then when we saw what he did with Daredevil, that's better. That is better.
Yeah, he took off with that.
Guy. What about Gog?
Craven's
Remember Gog?
I do.
Yeah, and then that's when Jameson and Gwen and Peter went to, was it Savage Land?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Gog and
Gwen's
Craven
in a bikini.
He's in a bikini.
And then everyone starts thirsting over her. Like, Jameson, relax.
50-year-old Jameson and 17-year-old Gwen.
Is Dan Slott behind it?
And no one thinks, do you reckon Peter Parker's Spider-Man? Because there's three of us on the section.
What's he doing in Savage Land?
Peter's vanished and Spider-Man's appeared. Where'd Peter go?
Wasn't there a time around issue 105 where the underworld put surveillance cameras everywhere and Peter was trying to not give away his identity?
Yeah.
I vaguely remember that, where he just his spider sense was going off every 2 seconds.
I remember Dan Slott did something similar. The Great Gibbon, legitimately, the Gibbon's alright.
They actually added depth to his character. Remember, he was actually depressed for a while,
and then they killed him. Is he still dead now? Or did
I haven't seen him.
Yeah, he must be, because that was. Oh, do you remember that friggin' clone conspiracy?
Oh yeah, that was.
That is the time. It was already shit for a long time before that, but that was the story when I thought, this is garbage.
Isn't that when Ben Reilly becomes the Jackal?
It was the Jackal, yeah.
Yeah, it just completely ruins his character.
Yeah, and he's still suffering to this day. But
Yeah, I mean, even like Zeb Wells wrote a half-assed resolution that was, like I said, half-assed.
did you read the actual Scarlet Spider book where he was in Las Vegas?
Las Vegas. No, the Scarlet Spider I've read was during the 90s. I don't remember him going to Las Vegas.
There was
I remember like
obviously
when it was mandatory to read it, that part.
yeah. Oh yeah, back then. Kane had a go, didn't he, after Spider Island, and that was quite good to be fair. Back during the dark days, that was like my safe refuge for Spider-Man stuff.
It wasn't
Reading.
Humberto Ramos the penciler?
No, I don't think so. It was Yost was the writer. That's the
It
run I'm
was
on
the one
about.
where MJ gets powers?
That's now, isn't it?
No. When she got spider powers, remember the spider? Everyone got
Oh,
spider powers.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, that was what you call that was Ramos, and that was
That's
a shit story as well. But after that, that like
yeah.
resurrected Kane, and then Kane went to Texas and become like his own spider hero, and it was pretty
Really,
cool, if I'm honest.
I haven't read the Kane stuff, so this is like all new to me.
Oh, it's sick, mate. I loved it, but maybe it's
I've
just
been
because of the
strictly
shit the
Peter.
main book was. And then
No,
after
I was
conspiracy,
strictly Peter.
after the clone conspiracy, then Scarlet Spider come back about Ben in Las Vegas, and he had this god awful suit where he looked like Spider Side,
Oh, with
and
the hoodie.
yeah,
Yeah, and then they
and then
changed it, didn't they? It got so much hate they like
yeah,
redesigned it.
dude, straight away. But like that wasn't too good. I think it was by Peter David.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah,
Insomniac put that suit in the game, but not the sensational one.
the shit Spider Side looking one.
Yeah, they put this in Spider-Man 2, but not the Ben Reilly one.
Have you noticed nowadays they seem to be throwing out shit designs like specifically to bait the games into doing it? Like remember Threats and Menaces? Not us. Just two.
Fuck yeah, we're the good one, don't worry.
Yeah. I remember people thinking it was Taskmaster pretending to be Spider-Man because of the color scheme.
Yeah, and it was just like a shit live stream suit.
Yeah, that it was for 2 issues.
Yeah, it's like I hate when books try to be modern like that. It's just leave it alone.
Yeah.
It almost never works out when a fucking comic book is trying desperate. It's like when Amazing Spider-Man the video game, how they
Yeah.
had the whole New York thoughts section and then all the memes they try to put in, like, and they're just like, "You teased me, bro." It's like, shut the fuck.
I don't know where to stand on them games. Some of it I thought was alright, but most of it, it's like cool.
ASM, no, TASM 1 I can enjoy.
Oh yeah,
I
2
think
you can't do nothing without getting murdered by friggin'
TASM
punks.
2 there's no saving. Like, you know, I had a comment on the Spider-Man 2 video I did.
Yeah.
Who was you know how I said if you've watched it, like,
Yeah.
in one point where it said about how the
Well,
games have their own sort of continuity.
yeah.
And I was like, maybe we should ignore Spider-Man 3. And I said that purely because that game severely ruins, like, I'm pretty sure it ruins the Scorpion and other characters within it,
Yeah.
within their own continuity. And then this guy like took it to heart and then wrote like a whole paragraph within his essay-long comment talking about how like Spider-Man 3, the game, gets a bad rap. And I'm like, who gives a shit? And he was saying because of like the QTEs. I'm like, no, it's because it's a bad game. He's like, and he was saying like how the state of games are worse now. I'm like, no, not really. It's like that was pretty bad.
3 was a letdown.
The Mad Bomber. Don't forget the Mad Bomber.
Villain, mate. Can you
Leave it to
believe?
the Bomb Squad. From now on, I am the Bomb Squad.
Oh. Gene the Wolf turned up. That was fun.
I love the death though, where it's just like you see her get shot in the distance. He's like, no, and that's it. It's like you have to rush over there. What about this for a villain? If you remember, I think it's around 127. Surprisingly, it's like a $50 book. I think it was like the third Vulture.
The third one after Blackie Drago.
I think his name was like Clifton Shallot. I think its name is. And it was like a murder mystery.
How many vultures And do you remember that disgusting one who like spat up acid or something? Or
I
red?
remember Blackie Drago, the classic,
Yeah, totally.
stealing
Yeah.
Adrian's thing,
He felt he was
flying
dying.
around.
But then the
Yeah.
actual Vulture got pissed off that he was stealing his like name.
I love
The
though how
Vultures. Remember them?
well, I love how they set up Vulture dying in the 60s, and then 60 years later he's still here.
He's got more powerful, if anything.
Yeah. Well, he made Spider-Man beg Norman to save his ass, so that's a pretty impressive feat.
Spider-Man who defeats Fire Lord.
Crying for help from the mighty Vulture. What about for those if you don't know, it's honestly, I'm about to bless your ears. When
Ooh.
Doc Ock married Aunt May.
Oh, masterpiece, mate. And the ghost of Hammerhead haunted the reception.
I love how his ghost was like purple as well. It's just the most non-looking ghost you would ever see. Even when he had to fight Hammerhead the first time.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a proper costume, if you remember. I think he had a cheap, like, actual costume from a store. And he was missing his lenses for like a few issues.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, you see his eyes there.
But then in the Spectacular Spider-Man magazine at the time, I'm pretty sure they like omitted the fact that his lenses was missing.
Spectacular.
That was weird. If you
the debut of
did
the
you remember
Light
the first
Master.
the Limester?
Light Master, mate, he's sick.
Does he control clap-ons? You say Limester, Light Master. I say Mindworm.
Mindworm knocks me sick. Something about his design's just disgusting to me.
Well, when I was a kid, I got his first appearance when I was a kid. I remember staring at the cover horrified by just all these crazy people trying to rip Spider-Man to shreds, and then Mindworm's face in the background just staring at you. Right into my soul. It's like, didn't he make everyone nauseous at one point?
Made me friggin' nauseous. I think it's
Staring
like,
at his ass.
I think it's his outfit of like a vest and shorts more than his like deformed face.
And he's always like crossing his legs.
Yeah, he was just. It's weird because like he's the type of person you'd cross the road to not have to walk past in the street.
You would not want to bump into Mindworm.
God no, mate. I'd rather bump into Carnage.
Remember that time where Sandman and Hydro Man, didn't they merge together at one point?
Blood monster, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Weren't they fighting over the same woman?
Yeah. She's obviously got a
Do you
type.
want? She's at the beach. She's just. You think if they took her to like the beach, they'll just get insanely jealous of each other? Well, I can control the ocean.
Ooh.
Well, I can control the sand.
Well, Hydro Man should be more of a threat, really, if we're being real.
he was in the 90s.
In
the 90s show.
Yeah, he was yeah, mate. He was genuinely terrifying in that.
And he was that jealous of Peter that he made a water clone of MJ.
That was wild.
That's some reverse Flash shit. Like, it was me, Peter. You've been banging me the whole time.
That was the last main universe threat Spidey faces before the Secret Wars. Is the Hydro.
Could you imagine if like Hydro Man could like actually feel every second of what Mary Jane was doing?
Oh.
And like his big plan to get back at Peter was just to like marry him.
Didn't Prometheus do something similar once? Pretended to be gay to get with like Nighthawk or not Nighthawk. Who's that DC character, Midnighter? I'm sure he pretended to be gay with Midnighter, and it was all just a plot to get revenge on the Justice League.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's
Revenge
next level hating.
Dark things.
I'll tell you what is crazy. Do you remember by chance ASM 263? By some chance?
263. I might have it in the hands here. I've got 256.
It's when Normie is born, Harry's son.
Yeah.
But the main part for me about that book was that fat kid who looked like Doc Ock in a way with glasses, dressed up as Spider-Man, and he built like full legs, and he was trying to impress that girl.
Spider Kid.
Yeah,
Yeah, mate. And then he teams up with the Toad. And, is it Leapfrog?
That's when the cover of them walking to each other, and Spidey's in the middle, like holding them back.
And have you seen at the end of it, they call each other like the Misfits, and that's their team name. And then Spidey starts going like, I can think of more fitting names, like he goes like the Spastic Few, and starts probably ripping into them.
I miss when Spidey was like actually an asshole to people.
Yeah, mate. When he could have opinions.
He's lost his edge. He doesn't even make like any sort of insults anymore.
He can't be fat phobic towards the Kingpin. He was punching out Japanese criminals in Japan.
Yeah.
He was going,
yeah,
I hope
this
I'm
racist
for beating up criminals because they happen to be of a different ethnicity.
While in their main origin. That's Dan Slott for you. That's Dan Slott in a nutshell.
Tombstone's black. I know he's albino, but he's black. Does Peter feel bad every time he beats him up?
Yeah, it's like even when what's his face? Late in the Spidey series, if you remember this part. I'm
sure
pretty sure.
Weird. I've got a spider sense for this shit, mate.
It's very late on. I'm trying to remember exactly what issue it was. Oh no, it's like around the 70s, I think, when he Rocket Racer.
Yeah.
Does he ever feel bad about like trying to take him into prison?
Rocket Racer.
I thought he was later on.
This big wheel tries to kill him.
Oh yeah, then he joined. Was in the Sables International thing.
Yeah, mate.
I can't believe I forgot that he was in the 70s. I forgot about his early appearances.
He was in the 90s show and all, weren't he, mate? Weapon.
The Spidey isn't Slide black. Does he feel bad for punching Slide?
I would, mate, after what Captain America and Hulk did to his parents.
What did they do to his parents?
There's one point, it's bullshit. Slide's talking like to a news reporter about why he's a villain. And he goes, after my parents were gunned down by superheroes, I swore I would destroy them once and for all. And in the back of the panel, Hulk and Captain America are pushed his mom and dad's like they're the Waynes.
I'll get my revenge by applying cooking utensils onto my body to create a smooth surface.
I love that with supervillains where they'll make some like highly specific thing for business, like they're making us non-stick frying pans, and then they'll get mugged off and use it for evil. Like a lot of Flash villains just steal their stuff. Like Weather Wizard just finds his brother just happens to have made a weather machine that he then steals. But when the villains like made it, got like Vulture with his flight suit, for example, he made it. He got mugged off by his business partner, and now he uses it for revenge.
And what happened to just like getting struck by lightning on an electrical pole?
He was just holding the mains power line as lightning struck him, and that's fine.
Even that one time where didn't he die?
Electro.
When he killed. Yeah, I couldn't remember if he died for a bit. Like the female Electro. Did she kill him?
That was clone conspiracy again, mate.
Remember, didn't he like give her the powers in the first place?
He kills her first because his powers
because they kissed.
And then
she had
the Black Cat because this was in 2014, so ASM2 had just come out, so you've got to have an Electro story.
Yeah, of course.
So
didn't she like have piercings everywhere, and that was like a conductor almost?
He kills her, and then the Jackal brings her back, but then she kills him and absorbs his powers. And now we've got to put up with 2 Electros.
It was full enough with one. That was full enough.
He's underutilized as well because he is probably the most powerful Spidey villain.
Well, people make fun of his costume, but I always liked his costume. I always thought it was good.
You know what it's really cool in? Web of Shadows. He's got like this homeless look, like he looks filthy and like electrically burned, but he looks
And someone
cool.
voiced him. It might have been James Arnold Taylor voiced him. I think it might have been him.
He voices everyone else in Spider-Man stuff, doesn't he?
Well, I remember doing research for when he was doing Mysterio.
I didn't know that was a video.
Oh, he's done heaps. I remember, didn't he do something in Back to the Future, the game? That's what I usually remember him from.
Well, he wasn't Biff, was he? He's...
I think it was Marty.
He was Peter in Friend or Foe.
Yeah, the classic.
Oh.
The classic. The the foster child of the Raimi versus Friend or Foe.
As Mysterio, the main boss, like the final boss, in a game with the Goblin, Doc Ock, Venom. Why is Mysterio the main villain?
1, how is the symbiote there? 2, why is Green Goblin there? 3, why is Doc Ock there?
Yeah, if it is the Raimi universe, half of these are dead. At the start of that game, Harry gets taken, and then you just never see him again. He just doesn't come back.
One thing I do like is that they had like the original Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Out of the few appearances outside of the comics for the original Nick Fury, it has to be friend or foe.
That and Ultimate Alliance 2.
He was even the first one.
Oh, mate, that first cutscene was like, Doom, I'll have your head for this.
It's so cool. We never even got that once in like the MCU where he actually felt like Nick Fury was Nick Fury.
Yeah, he is just Sam Jackson again, isn't he?
Yeah. It's a shame because when you see Nick Fury, you gotta go, oh yeah, it makes sense why he's in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. And the 616 always backed that up, especially with his background within the Howling Commandos.
Yeah.
But you never really see Nick Fury take center stage within any of the films.
Yeah, he's more just on the fringe, and then Secret Invasion, I didn't even finish. The new one. Not new one.
I refuse to watch.
Show.
I refuse to watch Secret.
And then, waste of Super Skrull, because he could be badass.
Yeah, they get the powers were like Groot's and Drax, and
yeah,
they used MCU heroes instead.
Oh, mate. Oh, I need to look into Super Skrull more. I think he's a sick idea. Just having all the powers.
Did you remember the living brain?
How could I forget the living brain, mate?
Remember when he actually like used him when Ock was in his body?
Yeah, what the hell was that? He
used the living brain,
wasn't he? He was the 6th member of Boomerang's Sinister Six, but then Superior Spider-Man takes him and steals him, and then there's only 5 members from then on. Or is there? Dormammu could be the 6th member. We don't know.
People don't even understand one of the best Spidey stories involves Dormammu within it.
God. Oh yeah, 500.
ASM 500.
He's the main. Well, he's what kicks it off. It is, mate. Masterpiece of a story there.
It's
when I did that video on where to stop reading Spider-Man, everyone in the comments agreed. Well, I'd stop at 500. And
it's perfect.
Yeah. You get all
especially the final page.
Oh yeah, with Ben. I've still got that book.
And then like MJ saying good night, happy birthday, and then the light turns off as like the last panel.
That the bit in the first issue of that, where like he's in bed with Mary Jane and he's on about lightning.
Yeah.
That was the very first actual Spider-Man comic I owned. Because we went Disney World. Yeah, it was that.
Was that Disney World?
That's where I bought it, yeah. We were in Florida on a holiday, and we went on the Spider-Man ride. Have you seen that?
I haven't. We're not lucky enough to have any sort of... We're getting to Disney World now. It's going to be like in the worst area within the city. That's great.
I agree. But yeah, we went on that 3D, 4D, whatever it is, ride where like Electro and Scream try and murder you, and Spider-Man's like, "What are you doing? Get out of here!" and then they were selling comics at the end, and that issue was the very first one I had, like, in my hands.
That's a banging one to start with.
Yeah, what a way to begin. And then when I was going through them, when I was catching back up a few years ago, and I got to that issue, it gave me raw flashbacks, mate.
It would, yeah, that hit you so hard because I got it.
Yeah, I was like,
I got it way later on, but when I first read it, I'm like, I need this issue. I need to own it.
I like how all the heroes. Go on, say.
No, I was just gonna say, as soon as like I finished reading it online, I went straight online just to purchase it. I had to get it.
It's one of them where you need to have it in your hands, innit?
Yeah, I usually stop at the volume 1, but with that one, I just couldn't help it.
Yeah. I like
what were you gonna say?
the heroes are fighting these mindless ones, like in the middle of Times Square. You got Thor, you got Iron. Cyclops is there, but he was on his way to like a job interview or something because he's in suit and tie.
Reed was there?
Reed's there, Human Torch. There's a boss bit where Spidey teams up with Ben Grimm to just wreck some mindless one, dude.
Was that the start, or was that when they got back? I'm trying to remember.
Right in the first part of it, he's like Spidey's getting overwhelmed by mindless ones, and then you just see the Thing like dive in to mash them up with him. Underrated team.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Honestly, Spidey bounces off well with pretty much all the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, they are like his like second family, really, and he can
especially
when he can buddy up with Torch.
Even when he re-revealed his identity to them, I really liked just the way they said like "Welcome back, Peter," and they all sort of hugged. It's something that's like it needs to be explored more, but Zeb Wells. He did a Zeb Wells and he ruined it. He ruined their whole relationship. It
starts off with everyone hating Spider-Man.
And then he showed why, and then he like full on bashed the Fantastic Four and Captain America.
Yeah. Garbage.
It's so stupid. I'll tell you who's one of my favorite villains though.
God.
This is like obscure as fuck, but like I remember reading this one when I was going through the Ben Reilly period. And I was like, hang on a second. Like she's pretty cool. Do you remember Delilah?
Yeah, didn't she try and kill Roderick Kingsley?
Because she was she worked for the Rose.
Yeah.
And she was, like one word in each speech bubble would be like this different font or something.
Yeah, I do. She was the what am I thinking? I don't remember who she worked for, but she was like the main enforcer of someone.
It was the Rose, wasn't it?
Was it the Rose?
He's the goat, remember that?
How could I forget? Mr. Varley. Ledge. I don't remember the coloured one's name. But
as a Delilah fan, I accept that I'm never ever gonna really see her in anything.
Delilah, played by Beyonce.
But in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, if you collect all those shitty spider bots, there's a portal that opens up, and then there's like this weird bartender, woman. Her name's Delilah.
Was it?
Yeah. I was like, that better not be Delilah from the comics. That is, if it is, that's actually embarrassing.
Well, they've done worse, haven't they, mate? Well,
Mysterio looks shocking. Looks so bad.
In what? ASM? Not ASM. Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like something special. He's tactical, isn't he?
Well, his normal Quentin Beck appearance, he looked like a generic civilian from the game. He didn't even resemble Quentin Beck at all. Not even like the haircut was even close. Not even his body type was close. He didn't even have that same, scrawny or like even buff Quentin Beck body. It was just
didn't even have the haircut. Like that classic.
No, nothing. Nothing. It was nothing at all. And even people like were trying to say, well, this is Mysterio, but reformed, so of course his costume's not going to be good. I don't give a shit. It's like you're finding Mysterio in an illusion. He's in an illusion. He would use his real suit.
Yeah.
When when you see in the books when Mysterio is fighting and he's using his technology and all that shit and all these effects, he's gonna make himself look as cool as possible.
The whole thing in the MCU, for example, when he finally gets the glasses, stupid movie, by the way, finally gets the glasses and he goes, "Get this stupid thing off me." That is the last thing Mysterio would say. Mysterio thinks he's the coolest dude in the friggin' world. He loves his costume.
He's meant to be.
Yeah.
He's meant to be he loves the spotlight.
He speaks like he's in a Shakespeare play or something because he loves the drama of it. He's
the
not
MCU
pretending.
fun when it comes to his core, they missed the entire point of Mysterio so badly by making him work for Stark and then making him create buff and then making him
just done this with Vulture.
Yeah.
Oh. And the villains are the only bits I don't mind about the MCU Spider-Man movie.
Well, I feel like when it came to Keaton, he could have maybe been used for a different character.
He should have been Norman. Well, he basically was Norman Osborn, wasn't he? He's got that connection with Peter being his friend's dad. Where's Green? He could have.
I love that shot though, where he's like good old Spider-Man, and then the green light flashes onto his face. That would have been perfect if he was Norman.
Yeah, the green. Mate.
What a missed opportunity. Even the Tinkerer was a missed opportunity. There was no aliens. Where was the alien?
Well, it was the Spider-Man.
Could you imagine in their warehouse, with Mysterio, Shocker, and Tinkerer, you had these little alien creatures just walking around.
And one of them could have been Beck setting up the next episode, mate.
That's how he could hate Spider-Man, because Spider-Man foiled their plans, which means he lost out on the alien job.
Tinkerer escaped, by the way, and is still out there.
They're never ever gonna follow up on that. Even what about the Scorpion? They've got Scorpion there.
He's never. Why is he still thug? Why isn't he like a private detective? Like, why would Jameson go to this Mac Gargan and gear him up when he's a known criminal wanted for the FBI?
Even just the part that gets me as well is that they're scratching their head when it comes to Spider-Man 4. They're like, who should be the villain for this one? I don't know. Maybe the character you set up 3 movies ago might be a good idea.
Yeah.
It's worse than when Tasm had the Sinister Six set up and
that movie
all made by Oscorp.
All of them, every evil thing in New York is Oscorp, and
shut it down.
Works there as BJ Novak.
You don't know Spider-Man, he's a Sagittarius.
The shit they set up in that film. I'm fuming. I would honestly accept a TASM 3. Just because I remember thinking, 2 was shit. It was. But it's still got the potential. And I like having all these different, separate ideas going forwards.
What really confused me with TASM 2 is the scenes they kept in versus the scenes they cut were way worse. The scenes they got rid of would have done wonders for the film. They had a whole stupid subplot about his parents, and out of all the stories, you go to the ones about his parents being secret agents?
Yeah.
Why?
You don't even have the Red Skull to set them up this time, mate.
Or even you don't even have the Chameleon to make them androids.
Dane DeHaan at the end. Gotcha.
But even they had a cut scene where Electro's mother, I think, is borderline abusive with him, and she's sick, and he can't really do much.
He comes home, doesn't he?
Yeah, you had a cut scene that introduced Mary Jane. You had a cut scene with Gwen going to Aunt May's house and talking things over with her. No, screw that shit. Let's have him go to a subway for 30 minutes. What were you thinking?
Nothing gets done.
I'd love for someone to just cut up the scenes and remove what was shit and then put in those scenes.
To be fair,
movie, I feel like
the actual Spidey fighting scenes, that first Electro fight, And the
Oh,
way he moves,
the visuals is what saves it.
yeah, defo. The way Spider-Man moves in that film be perfected. Just watching him
If you're
swing.
able to shut off your brain to just not even give a shit about the story,
Yeah,
and you want to watch a Spidey film, I automatically go to that purely for the visuals.
yeah,
Even did he climbed his own web line? If you noticed that
yeah.
when I think he was near the end,
Yeah,
when Electro, I think, was causing havoc.
yeah, mate. You can see him like putting thought into what he's doing. He's not just pendulum going. He's like
Yeah, I
climbing.
love it
He's
in the fact that you can do that in the games.
yeah. I like that little flip Spidey does in Ultimate, where you like hold down the button to climb it and let go.
Yeah, Ultimate actually had pretty good web slinging.
For
When you're not,
footage, when we discussed the Raimi games, I was playing 2. I kept crashing because it's been a few years.
you literally need to have like a form of training reels on for that one.
Yeah,
It's crazy. Like that game actually has a skill gap.
yeah, mate. You've got to get good for that one. But yeah, Ultimate
Like,
did it well, I thought, as well.
well, even just with it made it simple. It took a lot away from the complexity of Spider-Man 2's web slinging.
Yeah,
But it worked. It sort of worked.
because it's a smaller
Because I
map,
also
isn't it?
no, they got New York and Queens.
Yeah, but in Spider-Man 2, you've got like
Oh no, what was in Spidey
the
2 was New
city.
York,
Yeah,
and
but in
then you can
Ultimate,
go
it's
to.
like Queens, do you know what I mean? Like it's 2 blocks of Queens.
Oh, that's what I was saying. Yeah, Ultimate's got like all of New York, almost,
Yeah,
and then it's got Queens. It's massive.
yeah.
I don't understand how for a PS2 game they fit that much in there. It's taken us nearly 20 years since to get back to that.
Yeah, we normally just get Bloom in Manhattan, don't we know?
Yeah, the last one finally had like Queens and Brooklyn. But even then, Insomniac messed it up so bad where the game somehow feels more lifeless than it once did in the first one.
No police
The first
anywhere in
one,
Hoots.
interesting. I wonder why. If you go if you go into who worked on the game, I'm sure it tells a lot. Even Ultimate nailed city events. You know,
Oh, it
you
did
had it.
this once, and I know what you're going to say, so I'll let you say it.
Well,
What is
I'll
good?
start off slowly. You had like in Spider-Man 2, you had people falling off a building, people injured. You had random thugs. You'd do city events, and then you'd fight if you're in that area, you would fight them later on Oh, sorry, you'd do combat tours, and then
Yep.
when you complete them, you'd fight those same people as a normal crime. And they had mini bosses, like just
Yes.
randomly popping up in the street. You had Shocker and Boomerang. Where was that? How has only one game had that in a Spidey game?
I
What was
see it all the
Fumble?
time online as well. People saying, like, imagine if you're just swinging around the city in the new Spider-Man and suddenly, like, Rhino or something busts out and you've got to go get him.
That would be sick. Imagine Shocker just robbing a bank and you have to chase him again.
Yeah. Imagine you're just swinging around and then your spider sense starts blaring. If you don't dodge, you just get, like, a boomerang in the face.
Even like they missed the biggest opportunity when it came to Venom, because have him just stalking you, have him
Yeah.
randomly appear out of nowhere. You don't. He can't set off the spider sense, so then you automatically set up like a perfect mini horror element to the open world when he's just roaming
Yeah.
around freely as he pleases.
If you're just
He
going and
can
he
turn
suddenly
invisible.
jumps.
Oh
Yeah.
mate, ever since probably Ultimate Spider-Man, I think we've severely gone wrong with Venom.
Yeah, mate. He's not even weak to fire in the new one.
Yeah, he's walking through fire.
They specifically say, they go, oh, not even fire hurts. You go, what? That's Venom's key weakness.
It's fire and sound are like the ones that piss him off that much.
How
And
do
they've
they defeat
admitted
him in
one.
the new one? I've not got a PS5, and I wouldn't buy it anyway after
you're
knowing
you're in
the
for a
story.
treat.
But
So so obviously Insomniac likes to on trend half-ass whatever they're doing for some reason when it comes to the story.
Yeah.
Um, and so they try to do basically every kind of fucking symbiote within this game
Oh
for
yeah, the
some
null.
reason. Yeah, so they did that whole arc minus Null. They did Scream, but it was Mary Jane. And the entire time you fight Mary Jane, she's just whining and bitching about how hard her life is and how Peter takes the spotlight.
Complaining to Spider-Man
Yeah.
about how hard life is
Mind
because no
you,
one's doing shit.
she almost makes him paralyzed, but they just completely gloss over that. She like has Peter in her hair and
Yeah.
flings him, and his back hits the corner of a
Oh,
brick part of a house, like perfectly on the corner, and you just see him in this immense pain. Like he could have been paralyzed, and they just gloss over it. And then so you beat her up,
yeah,
and then
as you do.
I'm pretty sure she like almost beats it herself, like gets rid of the symbiote through her own
Yes,
strength.
mate. Their own willpower.
Yeah, the Craven the Hunter and his goons are a trouble for everyone but Mary Jane.
Oh,
Apparently,
I
you know,
saw
Mary Jane can defeat all of them with a
a video the
fucking
other day of
taser.
someone running through the bit in the zoo where like you see all the dead
Yeah,
villains. Another bit of bullshit, by the way. Why is everyone dead now? But
Shocker
you
was the one that
literally,
put the most up a fight. It was Shocker.
but now he's dead. Who have we got left in this universe? We got Doc Ock, the Goblin's coming. Everyone's either dead or reformed.
They've bottled it.
Tombstone's reformed. Mysterio's reformed. Sinister Six
But
now is
even
literally Doc Ock, Goblin, Big Wheel.
Big Will. But even when it came to like the defenders of the game, you can't. I don't understand how you can defend the Mary Jane missions in this because it got worse. At least in the first one, it set a boundary of how strong she was. In this, she's taken on symbiotes and Craven's goons.
Yeah, doesn't
It's just
she herself
bullshit.
just eat a like brute symbiote, like a huge one, with
Yeah,
just a
you
tape?
play like Run Around the Rosie or some shit like that, and you have to try and aim it into these barriers that can shoot off sound waves or whatever the fuck, and then
Why would
shoot
Venom
them
make
with the
his base
guns.
in an area that's full of sound wave?
Like they conveniently had these like boxes that when hit will shoot a loud sound out for some reason. It was everywhere. But even like you get past all of that and a part of I think is it like the codex where it's like the symbiote's still linked with the
Yeah,
host even if they're not
another thing
physically
from
with them.
the null stuff, isn't it? Because that's what Carnage was after in Absolute Carnage or some crap.
Well, in the game,
Yeah,
Peter's still a part of it. And with the help of Miles and Mr. Negative, they clear his mind and they destroy the codex within his psyche.
right.
But because Mr. Negative was there, Peter turns into anti Venom.
There is no other reason except Mr. Negative was there. Okay.
He turns into anti Venom. So not only
Another
do they
thing he
butcher
stole Eddie Brock.
yeah, they not only did they butcher Venom in general, they ignored Eddie Brock. They missed the opportunity completely with any stories with Eddie, and then they butchered Anti Venom. It's just so sad.
Why did
But
he
so
keep
with
drawing
this,
this shit as well, man? The whole
it's all
first
Dan
game,
Slott.
it's all yeah. But his run as a little known secret. Dan Slott shit. They're all it's all garbage. Don't bother. He has a fun idea now and then, but he always ruins it. Superior
Yeah,
Spider-Man's a fun idea. It's crap.
Screwball,
Screwball.
Screwball. What the
Right. If I'm playing a Spider game, I want to be fighting Scorpion, Lizard, Venom, Rhino, Doc Ock, Craven, Morbius, the boys. Not friggin'
Micah
Screwball.
Sin.
The first
I can't
game's
even.
side content was crap. I'm helping some
But
woman
it's
look at beds in Central Park. There was one
but
fun one, it was Tombstone.
but what's sad is the first game side missions are infinitely better than the second ones.
I only remember
Before
the one the blind woman gets a robot dog.
That's interesting. Before I ruin the side missions for you, let me ruin anti-venom for you from
Oh,
Spider-Man 2. So like, you know how it usually heals things, the anti-venom,
yeah, mate.
and how it can like,
Anti-radiation powers.
and it can quickly, like basically heal a symbiote to do the
Yeah,
opposite effect.
that's how
Basically,
Spider
the
Island
anti-venom.
finished.
Sorry.
That's how Spider Island finished. Remember before we went about where everyone got spider powers?
Yeah.
Well, they start turning into giant spiders because of the jackal, and they solve the problem by having anti-venom cure everyone.
Yeah, because mind you, having something that can cure anything is a pretty useful thing.
Could he have cured
Yeah.
Aunt bullet
I
hole?
was just about to say, where was that critical thinking, Peter, when you really needed it? Even though issue 402, he's like, nah, I'm at peace with her dead now.
Yeah,
She's at
literally.
peace, I'm at peace.
He
But then
tells
flash
Judas
forward,
Traveler another weapon of a villain. Don't
flash
resurrect
forward
me,
20.
Ants.
Wasn't he a fraud? I couldn't remember.
Yeah,
Wasn't he
he's
like
just
actually a fraud?
he was like mutant Mysterio.
He was the stranger, but from Wish. And so, like, you're fighting Venom with Miles, and then the anti-venom suit like destroys the symbiote basically, which is keeping Harry alive through his own illness.
Yep.
And then Peter's like, you got like they take Harry to hospital because there's nothing he can do. Well, you're wearing the anti-venom suit. What do you fucking touch
Oh
him?
yes, you're right.
Do us,
Cure him.
Skip Westcott, and bloody touch this man. You fucking idiots! Like, what's wrong with you? Don't adapt the anti-venom story if you're not going to use it properly. It didn't Eddie have his cancer
So
cured?
stupid. He did, yeah. That's
And
so
then
stupid. He could have had Harry with it.
the symbiote's like, "No, I made it up." But it's like, if you're gonna do the story, do it properly. I'm sick of this, man. Even the side missions,
Yeah, go ahead.
dog shit, absolute dog shit.
Oh,
I do not want to help um uh fucking this boyfriend help his boyfriend ask him out the prom. There's even if
yeah.
like but the thing is, it's obvious why I was in the game, but
Yeah.
they did it wrong. They're dating. Of course he's gonna say yes. There's no
Yeah,
stake within
no
the
question.
side mission. It would have been way more interesting if they were probably just friends and he was maybe worried that he wasn't gay. And then the whole, big reveal of is he actually? So there's an actual form of a stake within it. But no. They're dating. Is he gonna say no?
No, he goes with a woman instead.
Yeah, he's like, nah, sorry.
Oh,
He's
change your
like
mind.
Prometheus.
Yeah.
So like you couldn't even do that right. That's the simple change to that side mission would have changed it completely to make it a bit more interesting than it was. And then the first one, at least you had Taskmaster randomly shooting a was it a blast
Yeah.
at you that
Yeah.
wraps you up?
Thanks, Dad. That would have
At
been
least
fun
you
for the
had that.
stuff too. I'm just
Yeah,
randomly
dude,
getting you because Taskmaster jumps you.
they literally show you that they can do it. They've done it before. Where was it? Taskmaster didn't even appear in the sequel. He was nowhere
No.
to be seen.
And they didn't follow up on anything. I forgot about that entirely. They don't follow any of it up because I remember thinking back then, I wonder if he's working for Craven. Like testing him, seeing if he's worthy to
Well, he
hunt.
said he was interesting. He was interested in him.
Who said that?
Absolute bottle jobs.
Oh, Taskmaster.
Taskmaster was like, "Oh, my buyer's interested in you."
Yeah, and I was like, who's his buyer? Is it Craven? And he's like testing him. But no, it's just like, oh,
Isn't that?
forget about that.
Didn't they just take that from the cartoon of Ultimate Spider-Man?
Right. I don't, I've not watched a lot of it because it put me
I'm
right
pretty
off.
sure Mr. Krabs voiced Taskmaster in that.
No way, mate. He's in everything else.
Oh, when I watched SpongeBob, I'm like, that's Lex Luthor speaking.
I was watching Jackie Chan Adventures the other day. He's one of the thugs in that. He's everywhere.
He's in the Punisher show.
He is. He was like Was he in Daredevil season 2 as well as like
Yeah.
the
He's like, wasn't he
general
in charge?
Yeah, he's Punisher's
Punisher
nemesis.
saved him. Yeah, he does anything. This guy, he's crazy.
Right, but he's boss. He was in the live action Flash TV show as well as another army general. Yeah,
He just fits it so well.
Yeah,
I think it's his voice. He's actually got such a good voice.
Commanding.
Because if he looked like Lex, it'd be perfect. Because then you got it sorted to a T.
Yeah.
Do you think, when it comes to Spidey actors, who do you think is the most underrated? It could be voice actor or actor. Who do you think doesn't get enough love?
So underrated, probably Reno Romano.
That's a fucking good pick.
He did the 2 games, didn't he? The boss games,
and Spider-Man Unlimited.
Unlimited, that was a weird show. That was definitely meant to be a 2099 cartoon that they just panicked.
And then Batman Beyond was like, oh shit.
Yeah, and I don't even mind Batman Beyond. I think it's quite cool. But Reno Romano for that. After Chris Barnes, he's like adult Spidey to me.
He's so good.
Yeah,
he did well as the Batman too. Like I couldn't even fault him as Batman.
Well, yeah.
When it comes to underrated, I think of, was it the one with Morgan Freeman as a cop? Spider-Man never spoke.
What?
The kids show. The kids show.
Oh no, Morgan Freeman.
He was the cop in that. He's like, I would arrest him, but I'm off duty. And then Spider-Man never ever speaks. It was like a bad Spider-Man show. I'm searching this one up. Spider-Man Morgan Freeman.
If it's something that I've not consumed that was Spider-Man, I'm
The Electric Company. The Electric Company. Spider Sister. They got this guy to just not even speak. He'd just like hang around in a speech bubble, like a thought bubble would appear above his head.
You know what is underrated? There's a deep cut for you. You know, Enter Electro's got a trailer, like an advert for Enter Electro, where it's live action, and the Spider-Man suit in it looks better than any Tom Holland shit, mate.
Really? I remember the trailer to the Green Goblin one. It's like, is this too much fun for even Spider-Man to handle?
I remember that as well. Yeah. I'm like the Nets.
They casually got a Green Goblin costume and a Spider-Man outfit and like nailed it.
They're just sitting there playing it together like it's friggin' Game Grumps or something.
And by the way, Peter, I'm gonna go fucking kill your girlfriend. Like, it's like,
I'm gonna go impregnate my son.
Woman. Duty calls. We'll meet again, Spider-Man. He fucks off.
But this Enter Electro thing, he's like, it's for like 20 seconds, and they're in like this dark room with a power generator, and it's just the Spider-Man suit as boss in it.
It's crazy how they used to just perfect the costume and never use it in a movie. Anything else, they just, for a random ad, they just use the best suit ever.
It should be like
besides
made, shouldn't it?
Well, it should look homemade. It's its whole point, and the movies seem to refuse to make it look homemade.
Ooh, I like Edge of Time suit, where like the cobwebs have no
messy. Yeah.
Because that looks like it's been mashed up and stitched back together a few times.
You could, especially by the end of that game, his suit's like basically ripped. It's like Micah Sin would wear it.
So many holes. Skip is foaming at the mouth.
Imagine if Skip was in charge of Alchemax the whole time. He's like, so Peter,
CEO of Alchemax was Skip West.
I've waited this whole time. I was in the shadows, Peter, waiting for this moment. What the shark? Who's Skip Westcott?
Who's Skip? Lila, look up Skip West. That's what I was going to say. Look for comparisons. Arkham series for side missions. every side mission leads you to a fight with an actual known villain.
Yeah,
Even if it's easy, like behind Deadshot. But compare that.
yeah, Deadshot's was shit.
Look, yeah, compare that to Spider-Man looking at pigeons with a woman in Central Park. What is happening?
Compare that to Miles Morales taking photos around the school for
Yeah.
a person's project. Isn't that cheating? You're getting Spider-Man to take photos for you. Do it yourself. Some woman is getting
pulls of sounds for his beats.
It's like some woman is getting assaulted. Here I am taking photos for you. I hope you're happy.
Yeah.
It's
While I was taking this, the lizard ate 3 people.
Imagine in like Spider-Man Noir, while his uncle's getting eaten, Peter's just like, sorry, I gotta go take a photo for the bloody the local school. They wanna see the Great Depression in action.
You see? Noir. Love it.
I love in Shattered Dimensions how like pissed off he is at the Vulture.
Oh, yeah, mate. Oh, he's fuming. That whole what a showing for him that was, that entire game.
I miss that time. I really do. When it was like, all right, the Spider-Verse is 616, Ultimate Noir, and then you got 2099 for fun.
Yeah.
Can we go back to that, please?
Now it's literally Spider Baby, Spider Dragon, Spider Dinosaur.
Spider May, Carnage May, what the fuck that was? Like, it made sense because the ones not in the 616 were still Peter, and then the one that wasn't Peter was set way into the future. It made sense.
You know what? The thing with the multiverse with me is I don't mind there being a multiverse, obviously, but it's all the stupid connecting stories. Like it's Boss having a Spider-Man from the 40s or one in 2099. But when they're all teaming up every week, it's crap. Because imagine being the Spider-Man from the 40s and suddenly you see all this mental technology because you've been time warped to the year 3000. And then you go back to your shit, friggin' Zeppelin and typewriter time. That would messes up their story. All the Spider-Man, they can't have a story on their own, knowing that 2 universes are still dinosaurs.
Now someone in the 30s or 40s he can invent whatever he wants, or he can predict what he wants. He's seen the future. That could break his mind.
Exactly, it ruins their solo stories having them team up at all, really.
Shattered Dimensions was nice because it was it felt like an event. It's a game. Like you get to play as 4 Spider-Men within a game. Yeah.
Well, except for with the Boss, they only speak, don't they? They don't actually travel to each other.
They could have done something cool. I mean, I saw some people make a good point, although it would have been difficult for them to make it. Where if 616 Peter just went into each other one's worlds and then teamed up with that Spider-Man.
Because that's fine, and that's not ruining that set Spidey's story. If you know, as we've said.
Yeah, for all Noir knows is just, hey, there's a guy from the future now in my house.
Yeah.
He's not so far into the. He's like 70 years away. He's not 1,000.
Yeah, he's not going to invent a spaceship in 1940s New York on me. We're fine.
Even just with now, when it comes to the Spider-Verse, it's to the point where it's like, is he even special anymore? Is Spider-Man
he's not, it's ruined it for me. It's completely ruined.
You got a Spider-Person of everyone, and they've taken Stan Lee said anyone can wear the mask, or it's like you've completely missed the idea with that.
Yeah, it's the whole point. Incredibles, where he's like, when everyone's Spider-Man, no one is. The specialness is gone.
Yeah, the whole point is like, hey, his mask is fully covered. You can see yourself in Spider-Man. You can say, oh, I could be Spidey. But the point is, end of the day, he takes off the mask. He's Peter Parker. That's the whole... I don't understand why that's so difficult for people to grasp as a concept. And there's been a shift, I think. I think more people are sick of it now.
I'm open. Well, I never watched Across the Spider-Verse, but it
No,
was
me
quite
neither.
it was quite decisive, wasn't it? Like I saw
Yeah.
more complaining about it than the first one.
I saw even Miles fans complain about how they wrote the whole story to be basically just a massive Twitter argument.
Yeah, like every single
And
Peter Parker in this society or whatever all agree. No, yeah, let them die. You're telling me Spider-Man himself will let someone die, he won't try and stop it or do something about it. That's just not
I mean,
Spider-Man.
Zeb Wells, he asked them to knock it off. That's it.
Yeah. Hey, universe, come on.
Knock it off, guys. Say, Skip Westcott, can you knock it off? Oh, sorry, Peter. I don't know what came over me. Hey, Gladiator, knock it off. Sorry, Daredevil, I don't know.
Don't know
Must have
what
had
came
an
up.
episode again.
Kingpin, come on. That'll do.
Goes on a weight loss journey. He comes back like ready for like a cover of Vogue. Imagine like Daredevil. You know how he recently like came back from the dead for the billionth time.
Yeah.
Imagine he comes back, picks up. He goes to like the local magazine store, takes his glove off, runs his finger along the cover, and is like, "Is that Willie's face? Is that Willie?" He just goes up to Foggy like, "Is that who I think it is?"
Yeah, you told him to get his life in order, and he did.
It's
He's
crazy what happens
donated
when you tell someone to knock it off. Hey,
For the
Bullseye,
blind.
knock it off. My
Oh, yeah.
bad, Daredevil. I'm sorry for killing everyone you loved.
It's okay, because you've apologized. The whole specialness is gone now, mate, from like, that's why I don't do modern stuff. The second, even like, New Ultimate is good so far, but the second they try and cross it over with garbage current Spider-Man, I'm out.
I still think it's like I'm a bit worried for the future of that series.
How
I don't
so?
know. I mean, they're setting up a lot, and
Yeah,
sometimes I feel like you might need to calm it down a bit and
yeah,
just instead
let's
of
make
setting it
a
up,
film.
maybe resolve something. Because
Yeah,
they built up the first arc was great. I loved the first arc, and it went up to that big fight with the Kingpin.
yeah, which they
But then that only
lost.
set up, and then it sets up the Sinister Six, which is going to set up another big fight. It's sort of starting to feel like an MCU thing.
Oh, yeah, I
It's
see
like,
what
can
you
we
mean.
have
They haven't
can
sold
we
the
have a
first,
story?
are building up
Yeah,
more.
and now they've set up the Sinister Six, which sets
Yeah,
up Black Cat, which sets up the Maker still, and it's like which sets up Harry turning evil, which sets up the Green Goblin, which sets up with the suits the Venom. It's like, can we maybe just focus on one? Because
yeah.
I am starting to worry a bit that it's going to quickly just fall to shit.
Like original Ultimate had,
Especially,
they focused on the Goblin. I know it took like 16 issues, but the first like main threat is the Goblin, and then by the end of the story, he's packed away, and there's room for the next threat.
yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man, when it comes to the good stuff, especially the start of it, I loved Ultimate Spider-Man. They set up the origin in a way that hadn't been done before with the amount of depth they put into it, and it worked because that was the thing they were setting up was the origin story.
Yeah,
There wasn't a thousand things. It was just him getting bitten and then becoming Spidey. All that was the origin, and they managed to span that from like what 4 issues?
it was quite a
Wasn't
like.
it like
I think it's issue
eight
7
issues?
first becomes Spider-Man.
8 issues, I think it takes.
Uncle Ben survives well longer than in Amazing Fantasy 15.
He lasts like 2 pages. Maybe Skip got him. skips the Truffaut.
Fate where remember when Norman Osborn kidnapped Aunt May? Peter found her. Skip's done that with the bed.
I hated the fact they set up like, oh, they didn't specify which May it is. It could be your daughter that died. It's like, oh, you bastards. I always find,
they just want you to forget about, isn't there?
Yeah.
Who was Facade?
Sorry?
Who was Facade?
Facade?
Remember him? That one
about Facade. Whatever happened to the original Jackpot? Didn't she go like away?
I think a scroll killed her. I don't remember.
I even love how like they realized how shit of an idea Civil War was, and after they just basically ignored it.
Yeah.
Like Civil War when it was happening was so bad they couldn't even go out because someone's gonna harass them and try to arrest them. Flash forward to brand new day. No one gives a shit anymore.
I think it's stupid now how no one seems to remember the connection between Spider-Man and Peter, even though he was his paid bodyguard for a while. He's written the book all about Spider-Man.
No one brings up webs anymore.
No one brings up webs. And like you said,
back webs
about Spectacular. Is it Arcade and some other nonsense?
Yeah, Mentello.
Like, who is this guy?
Yeah. Oh, we can't.
We see
Peter about how boring.
Yeah. They're like,
it's like that panel where they're complaining about how boring their lives are. Reminds me of Jaden Smith. On that one thing, like kids my age now going, no, and the guy goes like, bro. It's like they look like that to me in that one panel where they just saying how boring everything is.
Yeah.
It's tragic. Oh, who's Spider-Man? Fuck, I don't know. It's like you got Peter Parker, or you can't recognize who he is for some reason.
No, he was a well-known millionaire for a while there. Everyone hated him as well because like his internet system went down or something and screwed everyone over.
Yeah, well-known billionaire, well-renowned scientist, inventor, famous photographer, author of Spider-Man. What else? What else could you throw in there that makes it just a little bit worse? Well, he dated Mary Jane and should take him to the red carpets, didn't she, or something like that?
Yeah.
Wasn't it in The Amazing Mary Jane? She literally took him to a big event where you saw him walking with her.
Yeah, and Spidey's always saving Mary Jane.
I don't know who Gwen Stacy with her dad being Captain Stacy. Who dated her? I don't know. Maybe Peter Parker.
There's so much connecting the two, and yet, even though this is after the one more day wipe, so they should there's nothing stopping them from realizing except the raw stupidity.
Yeah, Greg Wiseman's dusted as a writer, isn't he?
Oh, I don't know what happened
Rest
with
in peace, Greg Wiseman. I can't believe how bad he bottled it.
Yeah, after all these years of everyone Spectacular. I know it only got 2 seasons. It was quite good for what it was.
I love Spectacular Spider-Man. I thought it was great. For when I was growing up, you know how you got the 90s show?
Yeah.
I got basically the Spectacular Spider-Man show as my childhood one.
Nice.
And so as it goes, that's pretty for a thing that was trying to adapt more of the Ditko stories. It's as good as we'll get, pretty much.
Yeah,
it had the Crime Master. I'm pretty sure.
It is the last good Spider-Man cartoon. In fact, let me think. 2008? Spectacular.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was around. It came up around Spider-Man 2 because they even copied movements from the movies.
Oh yeah, it might be the last good Spider-Man thing then, in general.
Well,
it was before Miles.
It was post Brand New Day. It was, it got cancelled, and then Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon came after, which was shit.
Sure.
And then that finally ended
I
after
can't believe
5
that's the
seasons.
cartoon that's got the most episodes.
But then, to make it worse, we had Marvel's Spider-Man in 2017.
Oh my god, yeah. And that was
As a
crap
kid,
as well.
well, it took Australia forever to get Disney XD, so I was like actively excited to watch Ultimate Spider-Man
Yeah.
because it was like finally I get a rewatch because obviously Spectacular wasn't shown anymore, so there was no cartoons unless you had it on DVD.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, sick. I didn't really care. I was a kid. And then when I was like, when it was 2017, I was a bit older, and I was like, oh, a new Spidey show finally, because I'd given up on Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I watched the first episode, like, what the fuck is this? It's so dog shit. The 2017 show is horrid.
Yeah. I've watched like
Have,
2
have
episodes myself, and that's as far in as I got.
My name is Peter Parker. P is in phosphorus. E isn't. Shut the fuck. I swear to God.
Like, we get it, he's a nerd.
he's a nerd, but he's not a fucking virgin.
Spectacular is like the final. It's definitely the last good cartoon we got. But thinking back in like the timeline, it might be the last great Spider-Man thing we ever got before we got bombarded by like the Verse stuff. I'm still fuming. They made a cartoon called Ultimate Spider-Man and then didn't at all
adapt
the story. All they had to do was they had the dialogue and the storyboard right there. It would have been so easy to just make Ultimate Spider-Man.
It's so infuriating.
So stupid. And now they can't go back and make an Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon that follows it.
It's going to forever be linked with that.
Yeah. So
you know what's even more annoying? The fact that they sort of try to go for the same designs with some characters. Like Peter had the middle part that everyone had in the 90s for some reason. And then Nick Fury was the Samuel L. Jackson Nick Fury. And then Doctor Strange wasn't young like that, was he? They made him.
No, the Green Goblin was so stupid.
Design.
He was like half and half, wasn't he? He was techie with the glass, but he was still big Hulk.
They went with the Harry design, right? Where he had more of the longer hair. Did Harry have longer hair in Ultimate Spider-Man?
I don't even remember, but I'm about when Norman actually became the Goblin. They used the ultimate big Hulk one.
Yeah, they did.
Give him the glider and the technology and like body armor. It's like, why have you married the two worst? Like,
they went with the MJ being a reporter.
Yeah.
Shittest thing ever that's happened to the character. It's honestly
Lois Lane.
Takes anything special about her away when it comes to careers.
Yeah. Why did they keep doing it? Was, Karen Page in the Daredevil Netflix as well. She become a reporter.
The thing is, though, it doesn't just change their career options. It changes their character. She becomes 10 times more annoying whenever she wants to be a reporter. Look at the Insomniac games. Completely different.
It's not Mary Jane at all, mate.
So sad. I miss model Mary Jane.
Inquisitive. Actual Mary Jane from the books back in like the 300s times. Million times better.
I miss when Pedo. Sorry, Skip Westcott was in my mind. Skip Westcott effect. And we've mentioned him that many times. Is just constantly in the cycle. It's like Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary, but it's Skip Westcott. Skip Westcott.
We're putting the idea out in the zeitgeist, mate, and then Spider-Man 1000 is going to be about if this be Skip's destiny.
He tracks down Peter. But as I was saying, Peter Parker, I love when he has like a massive ego because he's dating a supermodel.
Yeah, he deserves it.
Even in Ultimate Alliance, he doesn't shut up about supermodels. One of his like generic sayings when you pick him as a character, doesn't he go like, "Is this a supermodel convention?"
All I played as was Spidey in that.
Spidey.
Yeah,
I use like Thor in his classic costume all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Daredevil, I'd use Moon Knight because that was like the only game that had Moon Knight and Daredevil. I was like, this is my only chance.
How
I'll
come
tell you what's
Daredevil's
sad.
Spider-Man 2, but you can bump into crap redesign of the Wraith?
It would have been sick to fight alongside Daredevil.
That's all I want in anything. I want something, either a movie or a cartoon or a game, where Spidey and Daredevil can buddy up.
Yeah, because like the '90s sort of did it, but it never really. It didn't feel satisfying to me
Nah, because
when I
at the end,
watched
you
that
just
episode.
I'm going Spider-Man. He goes, oh, okay. And he was blonde instead of red.
Why is it so difficult to make him orange?
They just
It's
don't
it's
want
like
to do it.
out of all the things they adapted, forever confused me. When you have a show named Ultimate Spider-Man, the only proper Ultimate Spider-Man comic you adapt is the one where Wolverine is is hitting on Mary Jane Watson within Peter's body.
Ridiculous, mate. As I said, if they'd have just followed the story, it would have been fantastic. It would have been fine. It even
Did
has like
Nick Lowe force his way through again to say you need to do this story again? I love how in the comic Bendis is choking Nick, and he's like,
got
"This is his idea."
Yes, don't blame me for this one. Isn't that right after Gwen dies or something as well? Something serious had just happened in the book. And then
Oh, it might.
it might even be Venom. Like he's just had a big loss, Peter. And then he wakes up as Wolverine.
I love that panel where he's like, "You know why people hate you? It's not because you're mutants. It's because you're." And he just starts swearing. Everything's censored for like the next two speech bubbles. But it's just like you had an Ultimate Spider-Man show, and you went with that story to adapt.
I know, of everything, mate.
I was so confused by the licensing because that show had Juggernaut, it had The Thing, it had Wolverine, but it was a Disney show.
Yeah, how can they utilize it? Because this was when Fox was a thing.
Why was it only The Thing? Why was it only Juggernauts, and why was it only Wolverine?
Didn't Superhero Squad do something similar where like they only had one episode with the X-Men?
No, Wolverine was. I mean, like Wolverine was a part of the team, but I can't remember the X-Men beat.
I remember there being something with Shadow Cats. I think they were having a birthday party for her or something. But
I just love that. Like, I used to watch the Superhero Squad so much. I was heartbroken as a child when I got the game because it had Spider-Man front and center on the cover,
oh yeah, he's
and you had
hardly.
to unlock him.
Don't you? He's not in the show, is he? But Stan Lee gets spider powers at some point.
In the game, you had to like full on find tokens through every level just to play as him.
Ah, lame.
Yeah, and then they put him on the cover. Like, what a cheap move.
That's bullshit, mate.
As
Like
a kid, though, I was always like, sorry?
Ultimate Alliance lets you do it straight away. He's in the intro cutscene. He's one of the first dudes
What
you
a
get.
team. Thor, Cap, Spider-Man, and Wolverine.
I was fuming in 2 where like they swapped Thor out for Iron Man for a bit of MCU synergy.
I never really cared for the Civil War aspect of the sequel.
No, yeah, it ruined it because again,
Like,
I only want to play as Spider-Man, so I can either go Team Iron Man and play as him for a little bit and lose him, or I can play as Captain America until I re-unlock Spider-Man. It's stupid.
but even like, wasn't there like choices you can make with your dialogue that would symbolize what side you're on?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so pointless. I don't understand it.
Compared to one,
The
especially,
best part,
maybe like the next Avengers film.
well, it's like the Arkham games where they had something so special,
Yeah,
and then like, nah, screw it. Like with Suicide Squad, like they just ignored the formula that worked and went, no,
yeah,
let's do our own thing.
they've
What
absolutely
they had to do,
marking it.
or like when it came to Ultimate Alliance is the first one. It was like
Yeah,
its own unique story that was so good and cool, and you had all these characters and shit, and you'd pick whoever you want, and you just fight all the Marvel universe basically. They looked at that and said, nah, nah. Let's not do that for the sequel.
I'm sick of stuff getting ruined. Like the Arkham series, even Knight, I thought was great, and now I can't even go. I can't look back at it fondly because whenever I see that Batman, all I can think is, "Oh yeah, Harley Quinn shoots him dead in Metropolis. That's it. That's the end of this hero's story." You kidding?
I love how like even pretty much every Arkham game, when you fight Harley Quinn, he does the same move and he just throws her.
Just chucks her.
She tries to do this kick and he just grabs and throws her.
Yeah,
and that's literally the end of it. Even Knight understood that she needs an army of goons to be able to be a threat.
Yeah. I think they blew that in Knight as well, really. She should have then, without the Joker, I thought they were going to, she was going to get better, if you know what I mean? But then she just ends up being Joker Jr.
They saved that one for the spiteful return in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, where she looks at a costume from Asylum and goes, yeah, right. And then wears
even in the museum, the Arkham Museum, she makes fun of it.
Yeah, they can't ever look back and go, that was cool, that. They've always got to look back and go, oh, that was cringe, don't worry about that.
Even the worst part is, if you switch to each character of the squad, they will also talk shit about it.
Yeah, but it was fine.
The whole point was that they broke into an asylum and she wore a nurse outfit.
Yeah. And like nowadays, you can't talk about Batman without some dickhead being like, oh, billionaire beats up the poor.
Did you see the article? Did you see the article?
Like, are you kidding? He's friggin' Batman. He's cool as hell.
For Arkham Shadow World or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
The PC company was complaining that, oh, you're going to play as a rich billionaire beating the poor.
Mate, it's Batman. He's here to save the day. He's a cool dude.
He only fights poor people. Two-Face, the Penguin, Ra's al Ghul.
I saw the Penguin at Job Centre the other day. Yeah, he's a... Ra's al Ghul.
What do you mean it's denied?
Ridiculous. They'll moan about anything.
Detective, I need assistance financially.
Detective,
I can't pay the bills. The lights are going to turn off. He's fighting Ra's al Ghul, and then the lights just all shut off because the electricity's gone. This is awkward.
Ridiculous. As I say, they can't have respect for stuff anymore. Everything from your childhood's got to get tore down.
Wasn't even the Riddler a millionaire in the Arkham games? Doesn't Selina steal all his wealth?
Yeah. And he's
he's poor. He's poor.
Yeah. He's not hurting financially.
Where was the outrage when Selina punched the Riddler?
Exactly.
It's so stupid. It's unbelievable.
How come they can't make... For example, speaking of Batman, they recently did a comic for Batman, I think it's 89, and it was the sequel to Batman Returns in a way.
Yeah, DC's milking that with nearly whenever they get a chance, or they'll do an 89 comic.
But what's stopping Marvel? I know it'll be some rights shit, but why can't Marvel make Spider-Man 4 in comic form, or carry on Spectacular the cartoon in comics?
It's interesting you should say that, because Spider-Boy, the greatest creation of the last century.
The week.
He's had 9 issues, and 8 of them are still on the shelf at the comic store. So Spider-Boy, in the last issue I read for my video, he was exploring the Spider-Verse.
Oh.
And it's written by Dan Slott. So of course, Dan Slott makes the Japanese Spider-Man look respectable and competent. But then the next issue, he goes in, and you know who he fights?
Go
He
on.
fights the spider, like all the Spider-Men from the first ever Spider-Verse from the 90s.
Really? Like Armored and the
Yeah.
one with Doc's arms?
Yeah, and he embarrasses them all, I'm pretty sure.
You're kidding me, mate. From the cool cartoon.
Yeah,
Nah.
they can clearly do something here.
Yeah.
It's
Like
clearly possible.
you could make Spider-Man the animated series. Just call it Spider-Man
Yeah.
98, like they did with
We've been
X-Men.
relying with that thirsty for a drop of anything for Spider-Man 98 that we're rejoicing in the streets when the writer said that it was canon that he found MJ, because it looks like we might never ever get a follow-up with on that series. It was like, well, we might as well take this or else we have nothing.
I remember during the original Spider-Verse, there's a bit where two Spider-Men are like hiding in the trenches. One of them goes, doesn't that Peter Parker over there look like the guy from The Social Network? Like, they don't actually show Andrew Garfield in that, but they reference the Toby films. It's like, why can't they just turn around and make the own Spider-Man as a character? Just make Spider-Man 4 or The Amazing 3 in comic form. People clearly want it.
It would sell. It would sell so much.
That's why they're not doing it, isn't it? Because you know it'd outsell the shit they've already
Everything else. Yeah.
Slaughter and Amazing.
Could you imagine Spider-Man 98 hitting the shelves? You go and look at it, and then it says in the top left corner, Wells. Could you imagine?
Ramos.
The first issue has Hydro Man still Mary Jane and they get married.
Why does everyone?
Peter watches.
It's just him and Bruce the Gargoyle.
Yeah, I love Bruce. His only true friend is Bruce. I love when he's like, did he even say to him, like, you're the only one that understands me?
You've convinced me now, actually. Maybe I don't want that because they would just ruin it. Same reason I don't want any more Spider-Girl. And you can keep 2099 as well now. They've ruined him as well.
In the 90s show, where he sits down in the sewers and then just that massive fall of liquid, just the water falls right onto him.
He's like, how could things get any worse? And then a car splashes. He's hiding from a hobgoblin in the sewers.
One of my favorite tropes in Spidey stories when he's in the sewers is him complaining that other heroes don't do it.
Oh, he does it in episode 1, doesn't he? Yeah. Like, bet you don't.
He always says it. You don't see the.
Maybe the Hulk.
I love when he does that shit. It's the funniest thing.
Yeah, like making jokes to himself.
Yeah. Well, because he's only got himself for most of the time. He's pretty lonely when it comes to the superhero business. I sort of do wish that he did have like a friend like Foggy in a sense, where they're just sort of constantly best friends. Yeah, because honestly, like I love him and like Matt and Foggy's relationship. I think it's one of my favorite parts about the Daredevil books is their friendship.
Yeah.
And I sometimes wish Spidey just had a friend that didn't turn into a goblin.
Yeah. Or get roulette superpowers.
Well, but if like the way they just ended everything was just she uses her powers and just 3 skulls come up and then she just dies. The end.
Just
Jackpot, no more.
That's it. Jackpot.
What would you say? Because we've talked. What if she said jackpot? What a joke! And then where's the flesh of Gwen Stacy and it becomes the new Gwen Stacy. We've talked a lot about what's shit in Spidey comics, but what would you say would be just one of your favorite stories when it comes to the old webhead?
You can't go wrong, honestly, from issue 1 all the way until about 300. It's all quality.
Although I found parts of like when JRJR just started.
Yeah.
You know, like the Bronze Age. I found that part a bit boring. Like if you remember that story with
points in there. But
when it got to the Hobgoblin part, that was cool. But before Hobgoblin, it was a bit. I felt like it dragged on for a bit. I did not care about Spider-Man, Namor, the Wizard, and whoever else was in that team. I could not care less about that like 2-part series.
I think it's
There was
weird
just
when
some
he's
moments.
like larger than life fellas, except for the Fantastic Four. You know what I mean? Like Namor and Spidey doesn't really mesh.
No. And Namor's always an asshole too,
Yeah,
which another
it's pretty.
character the MCU ruined. How sad.
I haven't watched it, mate.
I
I'm picking
refuse.
and choosing. Yeah,
Only real fans will know. Namor first appeared in films within Spider-Man 2.
yeah. I could get more than that on eBay. That was Namor.
Is it canon that, that Namor has an eBay account? Do you think like Hobo Namor ever wondered why he has wings on his feet?
I was just going to say, what's weird is Johnny Storm also has a friend called Wyatt Wingfoot.
Wingfoot? Yeah.
Namor?
You've done it again, Stan. Jack, we need a new character. And he's like, Jack was probably just like drawing Namor. He's like, you probably only finished like the feet of Namor. He's like, that's it, Jack, you're a genius. Wingfoot.
We did it again.
I love that he was in Ultimate Alliance 1 and he'd like actually fly you places.
Yeah, he was he was your pilot, wasn't he? Could have been Jonah Jameson, but okay.
The fact that they omitted Jameson from that is an outrage.
How does he fit into the overall themes of Ultimate Alliance?
At the end of it, when Doctor Doom becomes all powerful, he takes off his mask to reveal he's no longer scarred, but he's in fact J. Jonah Jameson. I even love when the tower, like Stark Tower, turns into Doom.
Yeah.
And you fight all the Doom bots. That was sick.
Doom has mashed up the X-Men. And like Colossus got like one arm and one leg, but he's still ready to go.
Heart.
Oh.
My heart. The X-Men copped it. What was with that?
I know
they get brutalized.
You know, Wolverine.
Brutalized by
if you leave.
Even
go on.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, best scene in the game, mate. Nightcrawler trying to escape Castle Doom.
That was animated so well.
Yeah, that made me love Nightcrawler there.
Even just poor Nightcrawler either dies or will eventually die.
Yeah, he can't win either.
They always just copped it in the end.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what is a story that for some reason, I haven't read it in a while, but it can't get out of my head.
Go on.
The Green Goblin saga with Harry Osborn.
Oh, great one.
I haven't read it in a while, but it's peak. It's as good as it gets.
Yeah. If they'd have ended it at that scene with him, like all of Spider-Man, if it would have ended at that scene in the ambulance.
He's holding his face.
Yeah, the whole build-up. If everything had been a build-up to the Goblin stuff, that would have been perfect.
That would work. It would work. Yeah. I also missed because there was a time when Norman stayed dead. He was actually dead.
Yeah. I like
and it was good because...
Oh, God.
I was going to say that with Norman staying dead and Harry's alive and, that's sort of the status quo they had, it made his death and overall time as the Green Goblin more impactful because throughout the entire story, it was like Norman was this ghost hanging over the entire thread, the entire plot, haunting them throughout every action they did. He was there haunting them, even with Harry's clear psychological mental issues. And I love that scene so much where Peter opens up that part of the mansion and you see the Goblin mask.
Yeah.
And it's all webby and dusty because it's clearly never been touched since the death of Green Goblin. And he just stares at it and you can just tell the amount of trauma this man has from it. It's class.
Yeah, quality, mate.
Plus
the whole
Sal Buscema as well.
Oh yeah. I do think Harry is like just because of how they were mates and how it slowly goes wrong and you can watch the relationship crumble. I think it does put
I
him up
love
there.
when they live together. I love in Spider-Man Blue when he opens the door, he's like, "You look like shit." He's like, "Thanks, Harry. Love you too." When Craven thought Harry was Spider-Man because he used his cologne beforehand.
Steve, yeah.
So he tried to kidnap Harry.
I like in
Did
a
you
way
like
where Norman Osborn being like, in a way, he's Harry's Uncle Ben, in that he's influencing everything Harry's doing after his death.
yeah.
Proper
And
good,
Harry's just too he's too damaged Harry to sort of just see that his dad is not a good influence on his family.
Yeah.
I also felt bad for Liz because didn't she go into like a state of shock where she just kept denying everything?
I've said a few times, you talk about Parker look all you want, but Liz Allen's look is so shit. She's got a supervillain brother, a dead supervillain husband. In the universe where she hated mutants, she ended up being a mutant. In the movies, her dad was the Vulture and went to prison and got a life ruined.
Her son had the Carnage symbiote.
He's absolutely going to be a villain, whether he's the Goblin or whatever the Carnage kid is called. No
The
matter
Red
what,
Goblin, wasn't it?
Is trash. Yeah, it was like Goblin Child or something with an E, something artsy and stupid sounding. Like you could not be asked coming up with a real name. Now she's got to look after Lily Hollister's bastard as well.
Yeah, now she runs Alchemex.
She runs Alchem. That was weird. I thought that was quite clever, actually. How like Alan Chemical become Alchemax like 30 years after 2099 first come out.
Did you like how that's now a part of the continuity?
I just think it was clever usage, but I don't think I would have never, back reading Spider-Man 2099, I would have never thought, bet you that's Liz Allen in there.
Imagine her as the final boss in Edge of Time.
Yeah, in the big stupid spider suit.
You got like little Normie running around. What the shuck? Peter, who is this? It's a long story. It's a very long story.
Teamed up with a bunch of shit villains during Spider-Man Unmasked.
Sometimes they just try things that don't work.
Yeah, she gets held hostage, but she's okay with them killing Peter at the same time.
You want to talk about a good plot? How about wasn't it the Return of the Sinister Six where Doc Ock didn't he like threaten that if that rocket goes into the atmosphere it would be the end of the world or some shit like that?
Yeah, it's gonna release.
And then it turns out. Yeah, but it turns out that in fact it was to like stop people from. If people were addicted to drugs, it would cause them serious like pain where it could even cause death. They basically came like allergic to coke, and he's like, "If you want the cure, I'm the only one who has the cure." That's Doc Ock. That is as good.
That's Doc Ock. That's the planet.
Imagine Spider-Man 2 instead of like the fusion reactor. It was just to make everyone allergic to cocaine, so he could have the cure for it.
Oh my god! What a Sinister Six it was. They'll make hobgoblins there.
Wasn't Hobgoblin like drawn really weird at the time as well?
It might have been Demo Goblin thinking about it because he was like, it didn't look like a mask. I'll tell you that.
Well, he was in the classic color scheme, but his face looked really weird.
Yeah, his eyes were like cat's eyes or something, weren't they?
Yeah, they went that way for some reason. I still think like Demo Goblin was sick.
Bensky dies.
Which one?
Return of the Sinister Six. Isn't that where Nathan dies?
Yeah, because the Vulture, yeah, and Aunt May's just like there, like he got into like a gambling thing, didn't he? He had people on his back.
Yeah, He owed loads of money, and then he still
And he
gave
was always
Peter.
an arsehole.
Yeah, absolute rat. Bad character.
If I was Peter, I would not save that man. I'd let him just,
You can
Aunt
have.
May's.
Yeah.
People don't realize Aunt May's been around the block, okay?
More
Before
than
Uncle
married.
Ben, before Uncle Ben, there was the gangster. Who was it? I can't remember his
Oh
name.
yeah, because he wanted.
It was in it was in an annual issue, like issue 4 of an annual. It might have been Web of Spider-Man or Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah, she was caught between Ben and some gangster, wasn't she?
Yeah, and then there was Ben, and then there was
If
Nathan.
true is canon, there was also Richard.
You can't even forget the Willie Lumpkin,
Oh God, no, mate.
the Fantastic
Jarvis,
Four's mailman.
played by Stan Lee in the movie.
Imagine in Spider-Man 3, he goes to Aunt May's place and you just see Willie Lumpkin Stan Lee there. You know, I guess one person really can make a difference, he says to Peter, winks at him, and just walks back upstairs.
Jonah's dad, even though I thought
That's.
Jonah was in like his 60s.
Could you imagine if. Because didn't they set it up to the point where they just said Jameson, and it was like, wait, do they mean J. Jonah Jameson?
Yeah.
Could you imagine if it was just J. Jonah Jameson?
It's like
After his last relationship died.
the Marla gets killed by the friggin' Spider Slayer.
Comes in and sweeps Aunt May off her feet. I
Both
can't believe
widows find each other.
one more day happened so Aunt May could shag Jameson's dad. What do they mean by making the stories relatable? What do they mean by that?
I know if my nan started checking my worst enemy's dad, I'd be fuming.
Is this something Joe Quesada's not telling us?
Oh Jesus, that
A
divorce
deep
really messed him
confession.
up.
Especially Zeb Wells, mate.
Christ. I
You could
think
just tell.
the only way I know what's happening in modern Amazing Spider-Man is your videos, because I'm certainly not going out and buying that.
Well, I appreciate the the support of my mental pain.
Yeah,
I
I'll
love
let you
that.
do the
Well, I got one comment that always says something about like me going to therapy afterwards. I'm like, yeah, pretty much.
Ravencroft, mate.
It's just Shay. What the fuck?
3 issues, and
Happened?
now I'm to believe she's the love of his life.
What happened to Michelle 2.0? Did they just completely ditch her?
What happened to What happened to Michelle 1? I know the chameleon pretended to be him and probably shagged her, because then she thought they were going out for a bit. Her brother joined the Goblin cult and then never got seen again.
That's right. I forgot about that. Michelle wasn't even like she was a pain, but it was Peter's fault pretty much because he was just a shit roommate.
Yeah, she was trying her best. And then wasn't he meant to be
Everyone,
going after Tombstone's lawyer for an issue?
yeah, and then they just ditched her.
Yeah. Why can't you just get with Black Cat? I know they've squandered that as well now because they've turned around and said we'll always be friends or some crap.
Even
But
Carly Cooper has been ruined.
yeah, she started out
Even
pretty good though, but compared to what we get
it was
now,
shit. It was shit. But they even ruined that.
with
Mockingbird was pretty bad.
that
I
was
didn't
awful.
really
That
like Mockingbird.
about
Who else? Remember in the 90s when Mary Jane's cousin had a crush on Peter?
Christy made that do.
Yeah.
She was
She was in.
anorexic.
Yeah, she went to the hospital.
And I don't think we saw her again, did we?
She got sent back afterwards.
She kept like sneaking peeks of him in the shower and then trying to
Bit
shag him.
dodgy.
And it's like, oh, relatable Spider-Man.
I love though how disappointed she was at the fact that a married man in his mid-20s would not leave his hot supermodel wife for an underage kid.
Literally, mate. He's no Skip.
I imagine Skip Westcott comes through. Skip Westcott like Hoffman.
Boyfriend, mate. And it's
Like
Skip.
Christy's like, you got a husband, you got a husband. Does anybody want to be my husband? My wife? Skip Westcott, I do.
Shut up. Get out.
Get out.
You need to bring him into the comics, mate. Welcome, is there any Spider-Man characters that originated in something else? Like, do you remember Detective Terry Lee?
That's way back.
Why has she not been introduced to the books, but Harley Quinn comes straight at Livewire, is in Superman?
Livewire is pretty cool. I enjoyed her thoroughly within the Superman animated series.
He was so weak to electricity and that she did like have a chance.
It's a hard thing to do a Superman show like that, because then you have to sort of question like, what's the limitations here?
Unless everyone's got kryptonite.
Although, like, the comics get by it just fine, which is interesting enough. When it comes to the movies and shows and the games, they just don't seem to know how to handle it.
I can't believe BVS randomly introduced Doomsday instead of like Metallo or something. Didn't they have like a wheelchair man in it as well? Who got
so
crippled in the Man of Steel fight. Why didn't they just turn him into Metallo and have him be the threat? But anyway, Spider-Man.
You want to know who really is random?
Go on.
Dr. Kafka in the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh yeah, he was Doctor Octopus more than anything, wasn't he?
But yeah, why is he a guy?
Yeah, why is it a bloke with like a German accent, mad scientist? A villain.
They missed the
one who cares.
So they gender swapped Kafka. They completely butchered the character. They did everything that you could have done wrong. They did everything wrong.
Straight away, don't they? Electro locks him in the torture chamber.
What if the post-credit scene was his wife Ashley? She like opens up a briefcase and then holds up the lab coat, and then like it's like this symbol.
It's like in Spider-Man 3 where he returns to his red and blue, but it's just a lab coat.
And her like her badge for like Ravencroft. Even when it comes to like characters like that, you just question, what were you thinking? Seriously.
It's like about the Stacys in Spider-Man 3, where they're not really the characters, they've just got the names of the characters.
You could have literally,
Yeah, at that point, why name the character after a completely unrelated character?
And the thing is, as well, when it came to Spidey stuff around, because what was that thing we were talking about with Skip Westcott coming in with the Hoffman right before the Superman thing? But like comics,
the comics don't introduce like characters from cartoons anymore. Like, remember what was his name? The Jumanji or something from the Neil Patrick Harris show, or like any of the villains.
Even the twins,
yeah, like Pterodax or something. And I know they were all just like copyright-free vultures, and the twins were just Mysterio. But
yeah,
why don't they introduce more people?
The twins felt like a really bad copy of that one Psychotic Family and Nightwing comics.
Oh,
if you remember during the Chuck Dixon run, Nightwing's like on the cover, he's like trying to resist, and you have like these two siblings with like a syringe in their hand, and he's like freaking out about it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I do miss? When in the 90s they actually focused on heavy themes within their Spidey stories, and they took the time to like give a form of depth within the characters. You had stories that focused on the civilians of his life. We don't even see that anymore. And when we do, finally, it's in a shit story like Knock It Off.
Yeah.
Because
Everyone,
we mentioned
Flash Thompson's got powers now. Mary Jane's got powers now. Harry Osborn.
because we mentioned Christy, right, her cousin. They
Yeah.
had the serious theme of anorexia and how unhealthy it is, and comparing yourself and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Then you had Mary Jane smoking as a major subplot within her character because she was so stressed.
Bannon died from cancer.
Lance Bannon, I can't stand that prick.
Rival news Lance Bannon.
He was such an asshole. I remember he took a photo of something that was really dodgy.
It was Peter or something, wasn't it? He caught something
for Mary Jane.
Yeah. Even
everyone hated him. Even in the Bugle, everyone couldn't. He borderline assaulted so many workers as well. He fell in love, didn't he? I can't remember who it was.
Vanishes for a few years, and then you just see him again in hospital about to die from cancer from smoking.
But he fell in love with someone?
Did he? I'm gonna Google him quick. But even for example, Rose issues you're on about before, the first Rose issue has a full in-depth story about this new character dealing with basically selling out to the Rose and purposefully losing games. You just don't get that kind of character-driven stuff anymore.
No, you really don't. You really don't. And even with the rivalry within the Daily Bugle, the one that I'm thinking of, wasn't his name Nick something?
Is he from Lance?
No. Lance Bannon was he Bronze Age?
I've got his Wikipedia up here. Lance Bannon first appeared. Place of death, Daily Bugle building. That's wrong. He died in the hospital, didn't he?
No, that's Nick. That's
Lance
That's
Bannon.
the one I thought you were talking about Nick. I can't remember his last name.
I only remember there was a paparazzi who, when Peter started taking candid celebrity photos, he was his rival.
Yeah, I mean, let me see if I can find it. Mary Jane Smoke.
No, Lance Bannon died in Facade.
I thought you meant the one I'm thinking of when you said rivalry, Lance Bannon. I completely forgot about Lance. Yeah. Nick Katzenberg, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, he was the one who died smoking, of course.
Yeah, the one that was super scummy.
Yeah.
And then Peter showed MJ him on his deathbed. He's like, "This is what's gonna happen to you," and she's like, "Shit!"
Yeah.
At first, she was like, "Peter, what the hell?" And then she was like, "Peter, thank you." But Nick Katzenberg was an asshole, man.
Whoever said photos don't lie never met Nick Katzenberg. That's a quote from Spider-Man himself.
I'm trying to find his love interest. Does it have it on the wiki?
I can't remember for the life. Robbie's attorney. Yeah, they had an affair. Yeah, he took a picture of an unmasked Peter as Spider-Man from Peter's skylight, and then he tried to blackmail Peter and then Mary Jane in exchange for a night with Mary Jane. And I'm pretty sure they go to Jonah and they say, "Listen, Mary Jane's into some kinky shit. She makes me dress up as Spider-Man."
Oh, they really are kinky, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know what? That's not even a lie. She probably does make him dress up.
Definitely. Craven's last honeys freshly came out of the grave, and she's like, "Come here."
Look at this. The clone conspiracy strikes again, because one of the many people in Spider-Man's circle of allies that the Jackal brings back to life was
Don't
Nick.
Tell me.
He's back, baby.
Taking more photos of Spidey through the skylight.
He's got biles.
He was always scummy as well. Do you remember? Was it that Caesar guy who was the one that was a stalker for Mary Jane?
Yeah, and then there was no resolution to that story because, like, Peter doesn't even find out about it, does he? He gets killed by a different stalker after she escapes.
Yeah, because he ruined her career. He ruined their living arrangement. He ruined any hopes of getting a job.
And then Matty Franklin tries it on with Peter after he's just been widowed.
What's with John Byrne and that sort of stuff?
Oh yeah, another jailbait.
Even in like Man of Steel, wasn't Lex or like the first couple issues of John Byrne's Superman? Wasn't he like forcing his secretary to sleep with him?
Yeah, he was like, "You're sacked if you don't."
What's wrong with this guy? Then he
We're
writes
seeing
like
some dark shit from these writers, mate. Everyone's either getting cut or the mums or the girlfriends are getting stolen by the granddads.
just better hope it's not the Kingpin you're pissing off.
Oh, mate, with them crusty bums.
That's wild.
No one is safe.
Did Garth Ennis write that one? I feel like it has to be Garth Ennis. It's not a Garth Ennis story if it's not got some weird batshit crazy thing happening.
Dodgy fetish going on. Or
like even in The Boys.
Dwarfism or...
in The Boys, like I can't remember who, it might have been like Homelander and Butcher talking to each other in the comic book.
Yeah.
And there's like a severed head and he's like, does this have a hole in it? And I'm pretty sure like Homelander tried to shag the head.
Christ.
It's like, mate, relax. Relax. Not everything has to be super edgy.
Did Ennis do kick ass? What was that?
No, what? I mean, didn't I know? I don't know. Like, doesn't he hate superheroes too much to do a story like Kick-Ass?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Except the Punisher.
I love how
He loves the Punisher.
Oh, yeah. Besides Punisher, I love how he just hates everyone.
Did he write the thing where Punisher like runs Wolverine over in a steamroller to keep him down?
It definitely sounds something like something he would do. I mean, like, I enjoyed a lot of the Punisher Max stuff. There was some stuff that I'm like, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should not. Maybe we should have an episode where we just chat about all the crazy shit that's in Punisher books.
Yeah.
Just have a full hour dedicated to Kingpin in that one story.
And it would all be relevant because he's a Spidey villain. He's the Jackal's henchman. Don't forget.
The Jackal. I can't believe how that
is his favourite Spidey villain of all, you know.
Did you like the tarantula?
The Spanish one?
The one that appeared during that whole time. Like I think 134 was his first appearance.
And I actually thought it was fun how he turned into a big tarantula and died. I cannot take him as a Spider-Man, though.
Remember in the 90s when they couldn't think of anything else? So they're like, we can't use tarantula anymore. How about black tarantula?
Black tarantula was sick. He's like Bane for Spider-Man.
Never seen again though, has he? When's the last time he's appeared?
Last I saw, he was in Spider-Girl, like years ago. Oh. He was like the Kingpin in Spider-Girl. Masterpiece.
The Kingpin Spider-Girl?
He was like he was their equivalent. He was like running the underworld, but it wasn't the original. It was his son.
You're not even a true villain at this point if you don't have about 5 different people wearing your costume.
Yeah, mate. Legacy's Francis Clum, the third Mysterio. But there's only one Shocker.
What about Dan Burkhardt?
Nah, mate. His costume's sick. In Friendly Neighbourhood Spider-Man, where he's like in the Iron Spider suit and Clum takes over the school that Peter's teaching in.
Oh yeah, wasn't his suit like red, like purple or red?
That was Beck when he come back from hell.
Oh, well, I thought he overtook the school in that one.
This fucking Mysterio suit. There's a panel. It's like the first page of the issue I'm on about, where he's like, the third Mysterio was took over the school to kill Spider-Man during Civil War, so he knows it's Peter Parker. And then the second Mysterio turns up to fight him because he wants the rights back to be in Mysterio.
I love though when Mysterio like offs himself. Do you remember his final line? He's like the Craven the Hunter or some shit like that. He just shoots himself right off.
All he does is steal from like better movies. So he puts the gun to his mouth and he goes, "I stole this one from Craven."
It's like I remember like my jaw drops. Like that shit's insane. What about the great Will-O-the-Wisp?
He's so weird. But it's the Jonas Harrow stuff. Like he's somehow been created by Jonas Harrow, same guy who made Hammerhead.
Hammerhead's one of my favorite obscure Spidey villains. I love Hammerhead.
He was
so goofy.
Where he actually was his time period.
He's home. He's home when it's in Shattered Dimensions. That's where he's meant to be.
To be fair as well, you know, the DLC for the PS4 Spider-Man, it was crap, obviously. But that initial, before he turns into Discount Silvermane, he's okay when he's just in the power armor. The first fight on the sky,
well, I liked
sight. I didn't mind.
I liked that they had such a good concept too of obviously in the modern day the mafia isn't taken nowhere near as seriously as it was, you know, back in the 60s and shit like that.
Yeah.
And the whole, you know, aspect of him actually wanting to bring back the respect and fear they once had is such a good modern telling story from Hammerhead. It works so well within the modern setting.
Super villains coming in and he's like, all these costume clowns have no respect. We need to go back to the good days.
It works so well.
Yeah.
It's a good way to fit Hammerhead within a story set in the present time of him just wanting to bring that fear back. And then they're like, nah, Silvermane wannabe.
It's the point where he is just a head at the end of it.
It's so shit.
Because you can see, like,
Silvermane?
He's a robot with a human head. And that's it. And
Silvermane? What's the difference?
Just use Silvermane, exactly. If they'd have
had
Silvermane
was just a head in that like electric little toy car, and you just drive around.
Remember when the superior foes? No, the Shocker become head of the Margia because he had hold of Silvermane's head, and it never got mentioned again.
I sort of liked that series. I found it really fun. I thought it was.
It's okay.
Really enjoyable
it was pretty good. It was another good shining light in a sea of crap during them days.
Was it Spencer that wrote that? I feel like Spencer wrote it.
I think that's what got him the job on Spider-Man afterwards. Because that's why Boomerang's such a huge part of his run.
Yeah. I actually liked their friendship when they had it in the 2018 run. Yeah. Even the way he was so good at the Spider-Man trivia.
Yeah. Why are all these villains getting together and reliving getting humiliated by Spider-Man?
It's great. It's so funny. Just the way he even got really into it. At the start, he was so against it, but then by the end of it, he was like full on trying to win.
Yeah. The last time the book was readable, mate.
And everyone was like, this guy's good. And they couldn't figure out why.
None of them were like, that's Peter Parker. He made Webs, the book. And Spider-Man used to be his bodyguard before he lost everything.
Isn't it funny how that's just completely been ignored ever since it happened? No one mentions Webs anymore.
No one mentions Webs, but the Parker Industries stuff especially, like, he was Tony Stark. It was shit at the time when it was coming out. But he was Tony Stark level of, like, fame. And in Iron Man books, Tony Stark can go anywhere without people going, "Oh my god!"
But also, another thing that would certainly boost his popularity wasn't he didn't he use the Baxter building? Didn't he buy it?
Yeah, he bought it because Johnny Storm was fuming, and then he turned it into like a memorial for them, so he was okay with it.
Yeah, because at the start he wasn't using it for like the right reasons, which got him super pissed.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I think you have to do a video on this one soon. But Stunner,
Yeah, I've got to do it. I've got to do something on Stunner. Yeah. Doctor Octopus is hired help.
She was like really obese, but then in virtual reality she was beautiful.
Shredded. Yeah, mate. And she come back and she sacrifices herself for Doc Ock to bring him back to life after Kane kills him.
Just and then, his story could have ended there. It was honestly perfectly fine.
Yeah, because that last story, mate, is Boss where he helps Peter. Is that the one where Peter dies and he sees Aunt May and that like floating up to heaven, and he's like, "No, I'm not done yet."
Yeah, I think so. And then because wasn't he poisoned?
Yeah, by the Vulture of all people, got closest to killing Spider-Man.
Is that when Daredevil showed up?
Yeah, mate. Armored Daredevil.
Was that a different time the Vultures poisoned him?
No, I think that was it. Yeah, because it was 90s Armored Daredevil, which honestly looks sick. I don't know why people don't like it.
I love when he was just like, "Matt, you're fully nobody."
Yeah.
You're fully nobody, mate.
No, Matt Murdock's dead. I'm dead.
Mr. Matt Murdock, what's your new name then? He's like, Jack Batlin. As in Jack the Batlin Murdock. You didn't think that through, did you?
Mate, he's never been good at coming up with on-the-spot identities. He's calling himself Daredevil because the kids bully him with it. We've got
long live Mike. Yeah. Long live Mike Murdock. You know who I think is a sick character that doesn't get enough respect in Spidey comics?
Oh,
I love Cardiac.
Cardiac, yeah, mate.
In the 90s, I love Cardiac. I thought he was sick.
He's one of the only like heroes introduced around that time that they could actually do something with. That was around the time.
He's like
shit, weren't it?
He had the hospital.
Yeah.
As well.
He ran like an illegal hospital where he was actually focused on
helping. Wasn't Peter going to shut it down until he realized what it was used for?
I believe so, yeah.
Plus, like, his design's not that bad.
Oh, yeah, it's a cool idea. It's got like an electric staff.
Yeah, I remember like he always used to kick Spidey's ass though at the start when they first met.
Oh, mate, Cold Heart kicked his ass as well. Sometimes they just write Spidey losing for a laugh.
But he beat Firelord. You can't forget the Firelord.
It's too much.
Do you remember the old arcade games of Spidey?
Like there was X-Men, that one.
Yeah, and the Maximum Carnage one.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? Or it was like actually just like a pixelated version of Maximum Carnage?
Yeah, like they were very good with the story, to be fair.
Yeah, it basically followed, and you can even like switch between Spidey and Venom, which was sick.
Oh.
It did Ultimate Spider-Man before Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, Lethal Protector Venom. And then
that's my favorite Venom, Lethal Protector one.
And they made like separation as well, didn't they?
Well, one thing I hated was with Venom, his first solo series is my favorite.
And
then the second one,
San Fran.
And he's like still like that Mark Bagley, the one with the symbiotes.
Yeah, with the Life Foundation.
Yeah, and it's got that Mark Bagley Venom.
Yeah.
And then ever since that one, he got more serious and serious as it went on. And then before I knew it, it was like cancer. Just okay. What happened to Strangers in the Night? Going straight to cancer.
Where's the fun gone? That first issue where he's like stops that mugger and passes the pears back to the woman and like pats her on the head. He's like, "You're welcome." And she's terrified. That's the Venom I love. PS1 Venom. where he's taking the piss as he's
the Submariner.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, he does. He fucking licks you as he grabs you.
And he goes, tasty.
Spider was.
And he jumps into the sewer and his tongue's flapping as he screams because he's having the time of his life. That's Venom, mate. Not this Harry Osborn shit we're getting nowadays.
I love even when you chase him near the end of the chase, where he jumps through the sign and you just see like this massive like cut out of Venom.
And when it cuts to like the running through the building, he just there go like, sorry,
he like runs past.
He should be having fun, Venom.
Yeah, he was a stalker too in the game. The game honestly nailed it.
Yeah, that game did.
He turned invisible.
I think.
Yeah, it was class. And it introduced the monster Ock.
Oh yeah, the boss final level just looking it.
Well, Edge of Time did was it Atrocity? Was their version?
Isn't the DS? It's Rhino instead of Anti-Venom.
Is it?
Yeah.
What's Rhino doing there?
Like Rhino and some random scientist. But then the comics stole the idea too, didn't they, for Red Goblin?
Yeah, they did, which was interesting enough.
Shit.
But even like in the 2000 Spidey game, they even like had his friendship with Daredevil, and they even had his friendship with Johnny.
Yeah, mate, he checks in with the rest of the universe, and Captain America saves him at the end.
Yeah, Cap just comes through.
And Venom again, where he's like, "Hey, Spidey, could you get us Captain America's autograph?" That final scene. That's what I mean about them all being written spot on. That final scene with all the villains in jail at the end, and Rhino
all still in their costume.
Yeah. Like Mysterio's got the poster of the Bikini Babe behind him with a fishbowl helmet. And he's like, I kept telling you, no one could control the symbiote. He's like taken as if he was telling them the whole time, which is how Mysterio should be, thinking he's right. Scorpion's in shock that they were all working together and still couldn't beat Spider-Man.
And then Ock just starts banging his head against the jail bar. All you hear is a ding, ding, ding.
And then the end of the second one shows them again, doesn't it? Because Shocker, Hammerhead, and Electro are all in prison. Like, you know, it's game other than Go Fish. Let's ask those guys. It shows the same fellas who's still banging his head.
I miss those games, man. It's so good. If Marvel was serious, they'd be like, for whatever rights they need to own for all the classic Spidey games and all the other classic games, they're like, right, how much do we need to pay you to get these rights?
Yeah.
Just pay what they want, take it back from them, and then just re-release this shit for people, because we need to have it more like easier to access, because it's so unbearably difficult to play them now.
Yeah. With Disney backing them, they've got no excuse except that they don't care.
Can they? Because now it's the Treyarch. They need to own the Treyarch games or the Activision games as separate licenses now.
Yeah. Activision did Spider-Man 1, the movie game, didn't they? And 2 and 3.
Yep, and Ultimate Alliance, I'm pretty sure.
Beanox did Shattered Dimensions, Edge of Time, and the Amazing games.
I love how for the Amazing games, there were for like majority of the additional costumes, they were too lazy to make new models, so they just reused the ones from Shattered Dimensions and Edge of Time.
Yeah.
Even the DLC suits were all just reused from Edge of Time.
And they got the Scarlet Spider logo wrong in the Amazing 1. You know, Kane's suit.
They used the Kane suit, that's right.
Yeah, but the back is completely wrong. It's like meant to have like a black triangle or something surrounding it, but it's pure red.
It was a disaster, man. It was honestly so...
It was a cast.
It was funny to me how some of the best costumes in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, the video game, was during the Identity Crisis suits. How do they use Prodigy, Ricochet, Who else was there? Was another one, wasn't it? Hornet?
Yeah. Because
Well,
Dust is
they
just
only used.
shitty.
Well, for TASM 2, they only used Ricochet and Hornet. For Edge of Time, they had Ricochet, Hornet, Dusk, and Prodigy. I'd rather that than Tom Holland's suits.
Yeah. Tom Holland gets a new suit every movie, doesn't he? So there's no like they'll just chuck in the whole thing.
In No Way Home, he had the Far From Home suit. He had that suit inside out. He had the Iron Spider suit.
That's so easy to sell toys. They literally just turn it inside out. Are you kidding me?
I'm surprised that the figures didn't even have that phone taped to his chest.
Yeah.
The only part I liked, really, that I remember about the first act of Spider-Man No Way Home was when, like, he tried to high five Sandman, and he just slaps his hand, and the sand just goes everywhere. Oh, I thought that part was the only. Sorry?
I was going to say we should do like a full episode where we're just talking about movie tie-in games.
Oh, there's so many.
Yeah.
You got your Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, and then there, multiple versions.
And then
TASM.
TASM 2, where he looks like Michael DeSanta from GTA 5.
I never ever thought of that before.
He doesn't look like Peter Parker, mate, I'll tell you that.
The lip syncing was horrible too in that game.
But surprisingly, a great take on Craven.
Although the only thing I didn't like was Craven made him better at his job to then try to kill him. So he's like, "You made me better, and then you try to kill me."
Yeah, he wanted the challenge, didn't he?
The Kingpin voice actor was so shit.
Oh yeah.
Get a cookie at the end of the day. Like, you're not Vincent D'Onofrio, mate. Stop it. Even when we want to talk about multiple versions of Spider-Man games, how about the abomination that is Spider-Man Web of Shadows? Was it Ultimate Allies Edition?
Oh, like DS.
The PS2 one?
Oh, what? I thought it was just handheld, that one, where like you can summon like the Shocker to come and clear the screen for you.
The DS one looks better than the PS2 one. Growing up, I had the PS2 one.
Yeah.
And it's a side scroller.
Oh, mate. PS2 side scroll. That's it.
If whoever's played the game will understand the amount of times that Spider-Man went huh in the game, because every time you jump or do any sort of movement or you got hit, it's like It was the same voice actor too. So like they actually got the cast.
He was honest. He's awful, I think.
You want to know the best part though about the PS2?
Oh god.
Jameson had a role in it.
No way, mate.
There's like the clone Jameson and the normal Jameson. I'm pretty sure you can pick which one you want to let out of the chamber. So you can full on leave the real Jameson stuck. And there's like, you can save like
suit choices.
Sorry?
Is that one of the black suit choices?
Yeah.
In the wing, and it's like, do you let these gang war leaders kill each other, or do you tell them that they're set up?
In the PS2 one, it's like, do you want to save this kitty that's lost in the first level? Yes or no?
And that's the symbiote influence.
Even Shield's there, and you see Nick Fury.
No way, where the hell was he?
It's the classic Nick Fury.
Instead of Sam Jackson.
Yeah, it's like one of the very few appearances of the classic Nick Fury is Friend or Foe, Ultimate Alliance, and Web of Shadows for the PS2.
What a trilogy.
I love how he says like Galactus owes me a favor, and then you can summon Galactus.
What?
What could he have done to have Galactus in his debt? most random shit ever.
Mate,
Even like
that-
Professor X just causing everyone great pain. There was even who's the one that is like the disco guy?
Hypno Hustler.
Yeah, you can summon Hypno Hustler in the game.
I'm buying that now, mate.
Would you rather team up with Black Cat or Hypno Hustler? I'll let you decide. They had, I think they even had, I think Puma was in it.
Puma?
Puma was in
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2.
Oh yeah, on the PC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Justice for Puma. I can't remember
The
if he
big
was a power-up in the PS.
Nemesis for Puma.
I don't know if he was a power-up within the Web of Shadows one.
Yeah.
I might have was just thinking of Spider-Man 2 there, but it's crazy how he's in that game.
Yeah, that's like a deep cut, isn't it?
Power-ups. Yeah, he never gets respect, the poor guy. I remember like in remember when in the honeymoon he was getting jealous?
The honeymoon.
Spider-Man. Because he's
Yeah.
like, I'm too poor for Mary
Yeah.
Jane.
He stayed at like Mary Jane's ex's beach house, that bit.
Yeah, and he's like full on just in his feelings for the whole thing.
I thought you meant the Puma was getting jealous, and I was like, I remember the foreigner telling Peter he's got a little dick or something.
I love how the Puma just wanted Spider-Man. Like he really wanted to just repay him.
Yeah. I thought it was weird, the Puma story. It starts off cool, he's like this noble assassin. But then during Secret Wars 2, it's revealed the Puma is like fated to kill the Beyonder. And you're like, of all the people in the Marvel Universe, the Puma.
What about when he was just like he kept he bought the Daily Bugle because
Yeah.
he's like now they won't. This is me honoring the debt that I owe to you because now they can't write lies. He's like, stop! What are you doing?
Yeah. Did you ever read, what was it called, Feral or something? Where all the like animalistic Spider-Man villains are all going nuts. And the Puma is like fuming because Black Cat's still interested in Spider-Man.
Remember when Spider-Man first took off the mask in front of Black Cat and she's like, put it on!
Oh
Put
yeah.
it on!
Yeah. She can't handle it. He's
Purely
just a,
horrified.
yeah.
It's
Remember
better than Ultimate Spider-Man.
I was just gonna say, remember when he did it in Ultimate and she throws up on his dick?
Yeah, because she was full on thirsting for a 15-year-old and she just had no idea.
How couldn't she tell he
I do
looks
love,
about 12? Like his height in Ultimate Spider-Man's just half
yeah,
his
but
size.
I do love the way Bagley drew his face when he was like puckering for the kiss. Like
Yeah.
Bagley made an effort to make him look like a pimply teenager.
Yeah.
Black Cat thought she was getting like this massive hunk of a man who's, got the body of a 16-year-old. It's just vomits all over him.
And then,
Even when like he was in the elevator with Elektra.
Imagine when he's staring at Electra's tits in the lift.
Yeah, she was into it.
Yeah.
She smiles at him.
Yeah, but doesn't Black Cat ask him at one point, like right when they meet, she goes like, how old are you? And he goes like 30. In his dead teenager voice.
Even just in Ultimate Spider-Man, Jean Grey, I'm pretty sure was like, well, you're the first person who hasn't pictured me naked, and then she's like,
there's a full 2 pages of him.
he's like knocking his head, like trying to stop.
Not wet.
Speaking of Ultimate Spider-Man and what we mentioned before of underrated actors, I love the voice actor for Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh, in the game?
Yeah, because he was actually a teenager.
Oh, yeah, he's quite good. When you say
Sean
that,
McKett?
I went straight to Drake Bell, and I was like, hang on a minute.
No. No, but wasn't Sean McGett like in like the Goldbergs?
Yeah.
And he looks nothing how you'd expect. He sounds and looks nothing like how you would guess.
Yeah.
Sean
Mark E or something. Yeah, he's boss.
Yeah, because in
There's
the
a lot of
game he's
voice lines for that game as well.
oh, there's heaps. What
Yeah,
is wrong with you? Because he has that whiny voice that cracks every 2 seconds.
yeah. I like when he's like,
Crazy silver hottie shoots me.
yeah. Made that scene while we're on the subject of Ultimate Spider-Man. The best like transition from Peter Parker to Spider-Man is in that game where Venom takes Sable, and that civilian's like, "You're just gonna stand there thinking about it."
Thinking about it.
He dives into the limo and comes out the other end as Spider-Man. It's sick.
No one sees it though.
In Ultimate, everyone friggin' knew anyway, didn't they, mate?
I do. Near
Even
the
before
end, yeah.
he died, literally, like the Kingpin seen him without his mask. Electro and Sandman and Kraven all knew who he was. Norman and Doc Ock, obviously. It was the worst kept secret in the Marvel universe.
Do you remember how ruthless Norman was in that though? Like he was trying to get Peter killed because of the accident,
Yeah.
and then he did the backflip. He's like,
The last
he was
reread,
ruthless.
he proper like come into his own. I must have misremembered because I remembered him being a bit like one note, but then last time I read it, I was like, oh shit, he's actually like he's quality. He's talking all about his
He's
legacy
just
and how he owns Spider-Man.
yeah. That's gonna always be his biggest point is that the bite or the spider came from Oscorp.
Yeah,
So, like yeah, it's like legally you're a result of me, and that's
yeah.
crazy.
And when he tells Peter, it's when he first comes back the first time, and he tells him, "You ever make any move against?" He's like, "I own you now, so you're gonna listen to what I say, or you and everyone you love are dead."
Yeah, then in Ultimate Spider-Man, he's so calm about it too in the game. When he
Yeah,
sees Goblin.
that annoyed me. That he's like, "Oh, brilliant! Now the Green Goblin's mate." Last time you saw him, he threatened the White House and held you hostage. Proper afterthought in that game.
I love Shocker in it.
Oh
At the
no, it's
start where he webs his gauntlets. He just falls over. There's so many good moments of that game. If it
yeah,
wasn't for the races, it might be perfect.
yeah.
Even
It's
like
just
I
a
love the game for yeah, like even tackling all the Marvel world it did with as much as it could. You had
yeah.
like the Baxter Building, you had the Sanctum Sanctorum, I'm pretty sure you had Doom's embassy, like the Latveria embassy.
That's where you trail the beetle to the
Yeah, it's
Latvian embassy, and you have like
oh,
the
was it
random
in
Wolverine fight.
yeah, yeah, just fight Wolverine in a bar for fun. Was it Spider-Man 2 or Ultimate Spider-Man where they teased Doctor Doom, like seeing him?
And both really. Ultimate Spider-Man, you've got the embassy, and it's the beetle works for Latveria, and that's where Goblin breaks out of. And
Yeah,
in
yeah. Oh,
Spider-Man,
so, yeah,
Jonah
I'm thinking
says,
about the one where it's the photo op.
that might be two. Then I just know in two, Jonah says to him, he says to Peter, "We've got a Latvian diplomat flying in," and
Yeah,
that's
that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah,
you fight the stereo in the shop
yeah. I
because he
wanted to
gets.
see the diplomat.
Yeah, mate. It had to have been Doom. He wouldn't have said Latveria otherwise.
I love how like the Sam Raimi has such a weird sort of who's in their world, who's not in their world.
Yeah.
Do they have the Punisher? Do they have Namor? Do they have in the games they've got
Strange. The
yeah,
book reference Daredevil
the book reference Daredevil and Namor. The
and
games have like and who?
Hank
Hank
Pym
Pym. Yeah,
works with Doctor Octopus.
it's like who is actually a part of this world?
They made up a strange, like, original villain for that novel as well. He like has a big centipede robot that Peter saves Dr. Connors from in the beginning.
I would have liked more of Connors and them teasing the lizard.
Yeah. And like technically, the fourth Spider-Man movie does have the lizard. It's just not set in that
Yeah.
continent.
What about Spider-Man 3, the video game? Giant lizards! And his arms are like his eyes are about to pop out of his head.
Mate,
I was
that
thinking, please,
game
but whatever.
PS5. Oh, yeah, that can go a bit. But you can see how much they love that game in PS5 because you got Craven hunting the lizard. Lizard fights black suit Spider-Man and goes giants.
They fight in like a similar area too.
Yeah, in like the underground and the sewers.
They even stole more from so much from the other games. Like I was playing Spider-Man 2, and I'm like, I remember just seeing something like they took that exactly as well. Everything is taken from other games. Even
no originality left.
Even in Spider-Man 3, when he had just both versions of the game, when he had the black suit, is so funny. You got like, remember when he had the phone call? Like, don't call back.
Oh, mate, in the PS2 one, yeah. All these tests and nothing.
He says that right after it as well. Yeah. Don't call back. All these
don't call back. But then he says,
Peter, like, you okay?
He says, he has the scream because Morbius is thanks on it, and he goes, "You picked the wrong night to tick me off, Count." And then literally 2 seconds later, he lands in front of Morbius, and he says, "You picked the wrong night to tick me off, Count." They use the same voice clip within like 10 seconds of itself.
I love when
this joke is so good, he couldn't just waste it on himself. He had to tell someone.
In the dinner scene, and Mary Jane's worried because he's not talking. He's like, nothing that's stopping your gums from flapping. Just smacks the drink from across the table.
He's livid.
It's perfect. It's so good. I'm going to die. Even the QTE fails were just beautiful.
Yeah. Web of Shadows had some funny ones as well, like when you jump to catch Black Cat and then forget to web, and you just splat into the floor. That sounded exactly like him.
But it was the worst because when they land on top of each other, it's the most weirdest scene ever.
Compared to the positions,
I like the one where I love when he kicks her, and if you don't even jump after her, and he just looks over the rail and he says, "No,
he's
cat."
Oh yeah, he's like, "Oh no."
Even if you don't if you do something wrong, doesn't Black Cat just fling you across the rooftop when she's got the symbiote?
Not even symbiote. This is normal Black Cat. Jaws here, and you fall off a building and die. Spider-Man.
Her fighting was weird.
Yeah, she says she was like undercover, working from the inside, but she doesn't fight like it.
Even just like the fact that 2 of her moves had her forcefully kiss you.
Yeah.
It was pretty weird.
And then like you throw it all, if you team up with her instead of Moon Knight, it's like he's still got Mary Jane like waiting for her over there. He's not even.
Also, it's funny how that's one of the only few things to adapt like a Black Cat working for Kingpin type thing.
Yeah.
Even her powers coming from Kingpin.
Yeah. That and the 90s cartoon were really the only. But even then, wasn't she a super soldier like Captain America in the 90s cartoon?
It was. I hated the way they did Felicia in that cartoon. Why? I hated that she went to the same college as him.
Yeah, she was Gwen, wasn't she, really?
For me.
I missed that last bit, sorry.
So, did something happen?
I just heard you go, for me.
It's reconnecting. Oh, we'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
We'll say as it probably doesn't get fixed in post.
Yeah, I'm just slapping gameplay footage on calling that day.
No, I hated the fact that she was basically Gwen. I just that couldn't stand that part of her character. And the way they even gave her blonde hair and then didn't, then gave her white hair. It's just like, why?
It annoyed me that they never found out who each other were, even though they were like so close all the time in both their identities.
Her costume was pretty good for a censored version, though.
Yeah.
Because remember, that was a heavily censored show.
Yeah, they got away with that, didn't they?
God forbid they said sinister.
The Insidious Six, mate.
Spider-Man, welcome to my new team, the Silly Six. We're all just a bunch of goofballs. The Contraband Six.
Because of my weight.
The way he tries to climb the ladder. It's sounding.
His dad just abandons him. Grip.
All they needed was just like therapy, and I'm sure they would have turned out fine.
Yeah.
Sorry, son, you got to learn the hard way. Can't even climb the.
Listen, go to prison, do some sit-ups, come back. You're golden.
Because of my weight.
Right.
Are you excited for one last thing?
Go on.
Are you genuinely excited for Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland?
No.
It depends which way they go.
I'm good. Yeah.
If
Maybe
they go,
if they've nutted up about it, because now he's not Iron Boy.
well, if the rumors are true and they go multiverse, I'm clean myself. If the other rumors are true, and it's going to be a gang war with Black Cat and Daredevil in it, I'm bloody on top of the world.
All I want is some.
There is rumors.
Crime action.
Well,
doesn't have to be saving.
There is rumors that.
Yeah.
Well, you know how like Sydney Sweeney was always a fan cast.
Yeah, for Black Cat.
But there has been like there's a new rumor where it's like she might play Black Cat and it's not just a fan cast. And I'm like, please be true, please be true.
Wasn't she Jessica Drew or something in Madam Web?
Yeah, yeah, she was. Oh my! Like, I was so sad because like, why?
They get so close and then they bottle it. But yeah, as you said, if it's like a low-stakes gang war, the universe won't be destroyed if Spidey fails.
Get Scorpion, get Tombstone, get Hammerhead, get Kingpin as the big baddie. You've got yourself a good thing.
Give them all an origin, because the MCU now is weird enough where you can accept that Hammerhead might just be there. Not everyone needs like a full movie setting them up. If you just cut to Vincent D'Onofrio in like a board meeting full of all the gang members, get like one in a purple mask and glasses, get Hammerhead over there, the owl.
Well, that's what's so good about Daredevil. The show was that Kingpin was already established, wasn't he?
Yeah,
there was no
his empire at the start. You don't need the origin for it. Comic
book movies and shows, the target audience should be comic book fans, not general audiences.
Yeah, not
it should be
TikTok.
Yeah, it should be like you make these for people who like the comic books. That's why they're a comic book movie. You should be allowed to actually explore good stories, like maybe the Sin Eater one for once. I would love to see that. The closest we got was Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah, and that's just because Stan Carter was in it.
Yeah.
That's as close.
It's stupid. It's so dumb.
Before we go
there. Difficult.
Yeah,
it's not
it is
difficult.
I'm this close to just looking at fan films now. At least they seem to have a care for the character.
People hated Spider-Man Lotus, but I bet if the controversy didn't come out, it would be completely different.
You know what? I fully agree. Like, I personally, I don't care what they do behind the scene. I'm not following the Twitters. I'm here to watch a Spider-Man fan film, you know what I mean?
And as fan films go, and as a Spider-Man movie, it's the only one that's adapted the comics as well as any other one has.
Yeah, I do think it was only because of that controversy that everyone talks it down.
Oh yeah, because Twitter people.
Yeah,
They
you
they
can't
don't
make
give
them.
a shit about apologies, or they don't care about anything really. It's like one mistake and you're out. Which,
Yeah,
ironically enough, sort of defeats the whole purpose of like, or they'll say like, they won't forgive them for that thing, but then they like a character like Spider-Man who's all about fixing their villains and making them a member of society again.
yeah.
So
Got to separate the art from the artist, and a lot of people just can't.
yeah, but even like they were in high school.
Yeah,
Well, the main controversy, they were in high school, I'm pretty sure.
when
Some
like
was
there was
still pretty later
doing
on.
so whatever it was, or
But like
homophobic.
the
It's
the bad words, some was in high school, some might have been later on.
yeah,
But it's just funny that they support a character who's all about like fixing
redemption.
people and second chances and redemption. Yeah, and then as
Yeah.
soon as one person says a bad word, they're like all against it. It's just funny. It's
Mhm.
so. But Spider-Man Lotus, honestly, it killed it when it came to setting in a world already, full of heroes, and Spidey's deep into his career.
And it adapted some of the best stories, no, didn't it? The kid who collects Spider-Man was in there.
Yeah, I love that part. I even love the way that like they just go over his book full of news clippings of all the adventures. And if you look in the news clippings, they're like recreated comic panels and covers. Like there's
Oh
one where
yeah,
the living brain is chasing him. There's one where electrico I can't even
Electrical.
speak. We've been speaking for 4 hours. We've been speaking for that long. There's one where Electro's there.
Sick. I remember him fighting the Shocker
And
in
I
it.
just, yeah.
Yeah,
I love
being
where he's like just saying like take me out for dinner or something, like karaoke night.
yeah.
Like, do you ever shut up?
But before
Even
we
like
go,
Andrew nailed it.
yeah, was his name Andrew as well?
No, I was like in Andrew's films, like you can call me amazing, you can call me spectacular, just don't call me late for dinner.
Yeah, he had the banter, didn't he? With the small
What
man.
were you gonna say before we go for the 20th
Before
time?
shoot off, uh, what do you want to do for next time? Have you got any
Next
topics?
time,
Or like the next couple times?
I'm feeling like maybe the show is in order. I feel like that's a good choice.
Oh yeah,
Maybe an episode of the show. We can
yeah,
have like
nice.
a full-on 30-minute conversation about Bruce the Gargoyle.
Spidey's best friend, mate.
We
Spidey's foggy
could
house.
fucking Nelson and Spider-Man team up. Let's think. We could do the like you said, the games, the Spider-Man games, movie tie-ins.
Tiny.
Just talk shit and praise the good ones, and
Yeah, rip about the bed.
just we can have a whole section dedicated to Spider-Man 3 and Friend and Foe.
Specifically to cocking up the quick time events.
We're in Spider-Man 3. There's a quick time event in the sewer where you just swing. That's it. You just swing.
It just stops, doesn't it? Yeah.
It's so stupid.
I like it where if you're going up against one of the lizard, not the lizard, but one of the lizard men, and he
Yeah.
slams your spine into like the metal railing,
What
or he
about
jumps
one?
through the door.
Or we could do Spidey games or just movie games in general. Like, because then you got
Yeah.
the Hulk, Iron Man, Wolverine, and all the Spidey games.
Iron Man the game had a sick titanium man.
I can't believe that adapted more of the villains in the movie ever did.
Yeah,
I got one last thing. This is the most important question of them all.
go on.
Who
What
would win
about
in a
Mike?
fight? Who would win in a fight? Micah Sin or Skip Westcott? And a wild card would be Mike Murdoch.
What has Micah eaten that day?
He's eating Foggy's wife.
Depends on how many fingers Skip can get in.
Micah takes Skip hostage as his like slave, but he just sort of enjoys it the whole time. And then Mike Murdoch bursts through the scene as the wild card. How's it going, Daddy-O?
Cool cat Mike Murdoch turns up.
Calls them all pussycats.
Hey, if Skip's got the dough.
Starts singing the latest Frank Sinatra tune that just released. Classic stuff.
That is classic Mike.
Mike Shenanigans. We should have a segment called Mike Shenanigans.
Just to highlight the adventures of Mike Murdoch.
Or like something so weird, like Spider-Man 3, I'm Going to Die, is a Mike Shenanigan.
It's Mike who's tied her to the bomb.
Leave it to the bomb squad. Yeah, from now on, I am the bomb squad.
Leave it to the cool cats. From now on,
I am the cool cat.